Chapter 1140. Eric was caught off guard by Xiaoye's preemptive strike. He didn't pay much attention to Bai Xiaoye. From the beginning to the end, his main focus was on Su Yun. He didn't expect this seemingly weak girl to make a move on him. Eric, who was caught off guard, took a few steps back. Although he wasn't hurt, he was completely shocked by the girl's skills. What? Are you scared? Fight back. Bai Xiaoye didn't care if her opponent was still in a daze. She continued to attack. Her leg whipped towards Eric as fast as lightning. Eric had nowhere to retreat. He could only raise his arms to block the kick. When Eric's arms were numbed by Xiaoye's kick, he realized that he had underestimated his opponent. Although the girl looked delicate, she didn't need his pity at all. This logic was similar to how a person might look sickly, but the person who wanted to fight with him knew that he only looked sickly on the surface. If he really wanted to kill someone, he wouldn't hesitate. All of a sudden, Eric switched from defense to offense and grabbed Bai Xiaoye's ankle with his palm. Exerting force, he flung Bai Xiaoye away. However, Bai Xiaoye was as light as a swallow. Although she was flung away, she tapped on the wall with the tip of her foot and used the momentum to turn around and attack Eric's face. Eric was, after all, a 6th grade boxer. His reaction speed and coordination were quite good. He dodged Bai Xiaoye's punch and countered with an uppercut, aiming for Bai Xiaoye's chin without any care for the fact that she was a woman. If this punch landed, Bai Xiaoye's face would definitely be disfigured by the strength of a 6th grade fighter. However, Bai Xiaoye's body flipped back in an unbelievable position, and Eric's punch missed completely. "You're so ruthless. You don't have any pity at all." Su Yun grinned. He was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. If it weren't for Bai Xiaoye's unbelievably flexible body, her chin would have been broken. Bai Xiaoye was also scared after thinking about it. Her back was drenched in cold sweat. Although it seemed that Bai Xiaoye had gained the upper hand, Eric still had the upper hand. After all, other than taking a few steps back at the beginning, he didn't move an inch during the whole fight. This guy's lower body was really stable. Again. Of course, Bai Xiaoye wouldn't admit defeat. She got into a fighting stance and was about to charge forward. Su Yun grabbed Bai Xiaoye's arm. "Let me do it. If I hurt your face, I won't be able to answer to my stepmother." Stepmother? Bai Xiaoye was speechless. As her biological daughter, she couldn't even call her mother. Su Yun's way of calling her was quite intimate. "Brother, it's not a skill to bully women." Su Yun smiled and walked in front of Eric. He didn't want Bai Xiaoye to take the risk. Although Bai Xiaoye might win, it was too dangerous. The strength of a level 6 boxer was too terrifying. Even he didn't want to take a direct hit, let alone Bai Xiaoye. If a man took a hit, it would be fine as long as he protected his manhood. However, it was different for a woman. Just her face was important enough. Then let's have a duel between men. Eric was now full of curiosity about Su Yun. It was not an exaggeration to say that this guy was half a martial arts fanatic. Other than when he was working for his godfather, Eric spent almost all his time training his strength and speed. It was as if he couldn't survive if he didn't do it. His words were pretty straightforward. "Huh?" Su Yun sneered. "Alright, I'll let you know what a man is." Hua Xia Kung Fu focused on controlling the opponent after the attack, but Western boxing focused on taking the initiative to attack. Facing Su Yun, Eric completely unleashed his powerful fighting strength. He arched his legs and jumped up explosively. His fist was like an arrow that shot out explosively, directly smashing towards Su Yun's face. When a normal person faced such a fast punch, their first choice would be to dodge. The best result would be a loss for both sides. However, when Eric mentioned that it was a duel between men, it completely ignited the ruthlessness in Su Yun's heart. He didn't even think about dodging the punch. Instead, he stabilized his lower body in a horse stance and his right fist suddenly drilled out from his waist. Facing Eric's fist, he blocked it. Eric had never met such an opponent in all his years. However, what was done could not be undone. He couldn't stop even if he wanted to. He had poured all his strength into this punch. The moment the two fists collided, Eric's expression turned ferocious. Su Yun's fist also felt numb from the pain. What great strength! As expected of a level 6 boxer. Just with this pair of fists, he would definitely have a high status and prestige in the Gambino family. After the instantaneous punch, neither of them made another move. At that moment, the victor was decided. After Eric endured for a few seconds, he couldn't help but use his right hand to hug his left arm. This punch of Su Yun's earlier forcefully shattered the bones of his entire arm. Eric's left fist was now completely crippled. The bones in his fingers had probably been completely shattered. Eric had never seen or heard of this kind of punching power. Su Yun didn't give Eric a chance to speak. He also didn't care that Eric didn't have any ability to fight back. He went forward and pressed Eric to the ground with a choke hold. None of the 20-odd people who came with him dared to move. This was because Eric didn't give any orders. After all, his godfather had told him to invite Su Yun, not hurt him. Therefore, although there were many people outside, none of them dared to stop Su Yun. Crippling your left hand is equivalent to crippling you. Crippling you is equivalent to crippling Godfather's right-hand man. This time, does he have to come and invite me personally? Su Yun sneered. Eric, you've been notorious for a long time. How many Hua Xia people have come to America to earn a living in the underground boxing market? I think you know better than I do. Other than Caucasian boxers, people of other skin colors don't deserve to earn a living in New York's underground boxing. People are divided into different classes. Eric was definitely a typical racist. He looked down on anyone who wasn't Caucasian. This was the reason for his notoriety. Boxers of other skin colors who wanted to earn a living in New York's underground boxing had all died under his fists. Although underground boxing was a gamble of life, most of the time, once the opponent admitted defeat, they would be given a way out. However, Eric didn't think so. Caucasian boxers had the right to be given a way out. As for the others, he didn't care. As long as he seized the opportunity, he would definitely kill them with one blow. Countless people of other skin colors had died under his hands. This kind of racism was anti-human. It was very serious for people all over the world. As long as there was life, there was dignity. There was no distinction between high and low. This was especially true in America. It wasn't that Americans respected life more, but that there were too many racists in America. It could even be said that even if a black man became the president, there were still some situations that made people feel that way. For example, in America's #1 sport, football, in the past, the quarterback was definitely a pure Caucasian. The quarterback was the initiator of the offense and the organizer of the tactics. He was the most important player on the team. Especially in a team that mainly relied on passing tactics, the quarterback was even more important. It could be seen in sports that Caucasians had a leadership position. It wasn't difficult to see some of the problems in this country. Of course, as time passed, things were much better now. There were also Caucasian quarterbacks. It was still the same sentence. If a black man became the president, what else did Caucasians have to feel proud and noble? Chapter 1141. Have you ever thought about it? Many times, your opponents have already lost to you, yet you insist on taking their lives. What does this mean to them? Su Yun asked. Of course, it means death, Eric said. But those who fight underground know that life and death are up to fate. Even if they die, there's nothing to complain about. They sign the contract themselves. And even if they die, there's still a portion of the compensation. Su Yun sneered. Compensation? Who's going to be satisfied with that little bit of USD? Since a person has to rely on underground fighting to make a living, it means that he's having a hard time. He might be the only one taking care of his entire family. Otherwise, why would he bet his life on underground fighting? You take their lives just because you say so. You don't give them any chance at all. Do you know that if you kill one person, it might mean that you're killing their entire family? Eric did not think much of it. As his left arm was severely injured, he could not help but grimace in pain. After enduring the intense pain, he spoke again. Even if someone asks me 100 times, I'll tell them that there's a difference between races. We, white people, will always be supreme. Then let me tell you, this isn't the closed era of the past. There's a black president now, and there are also white people begging on Wall Street. Su Yun said, if you're really so unrepentant, then I can only do something for the advancement of all of humanity. You won't dare to kill me, Eric said confidently. Why? Su Yun was stunned. Where did this crippled guy get the confidence to say such things to him? Eric endured the intense pain and said confidently, because you know very well that I'm Godfather's right-hand man. Godfather might forgive you for making him lose a large sum of money, but he'll definitely not forgive you for making him lose me. You think too highly of yourself. Is it just because you're white? Su Yun said in disdain. The earth can revolve without anyone. The Gambino family will still prosper without you. Su Yun was really unhappy with this guy's arrogance. Originally, he didn't want to go too far. If he went too far, he might really annoy his godfather, but now he couldn't care so much. I'm sure that Godfather is an extreme racist like you. I don't care even if I completely piss him off. Su Yun spat. New York's great white shark, if you die, New York's underground boxing will have one less scourge. When you go to hell, don't forget to say hello to the people you killed and say sorry. You don't dare to kill me. When Eric said this again, the confidence on his face was gone. He saw the sickle of the Grim Reaper in Su Yun's eyes. The corners of Su Yun's mouth curled up slightly. His smile was filled with an awe-inspiring evil aura. Whether I dare or not, you won't have the chance to know. The human throat was quite fragile. Once it was crushed, the person would die from not being able to inhale enough oxygen. That was what Su Yun did. Eric didn't die happily at all. It was rather painful. It was just like those people who were slowly tortured to death by him in the boxing ring. The pain was unimaginable to others. Even Bai Xiaoye couldn't stand such cruelty. She couldn't tell that Su Yun was really scary when he was being ruthless. Eric coughed violently, and blood spurted out from his nose and mouth. He glared at Su Yun ferociously. After he breathed his last, he died with his eyes wide open. Throughout the entire process, none of the 20-odd people Eric had brought with him stepped forward. Everyone had a solemn expression. That was because none of them were pure white. Perhaps there were people with fairer skin, but they were also mixed race. Among all the people present, be it their parents or grandparents, there were always people with other skin colors. Perhaps this was the power that made these subordinates watch as Eric died. After Eric breathed his last, the 20-odd people he brought with him took out their pistols in shock. To be honest, they didn't want to attack at all. They were afraid and worried. It was self-defense. Su Yun raised his hands. I don't mean to make things difficult for you. It's just that I personally hate people who discriminate against people. I believe that your family, friends, or even yourselves must have been discriminated against before, especially when you're following such a guy. You know what I mean. Indeed, everyone present had been discriminated against by Eric. Eric was a pain in their hearts, but they didn't dare to do anything to him. After all, he was someone they couldn't afford to offend. Now, this Huaxia youth in front of them had killed Eric so easily. Naturally, they were no match for him. Moreover, there were some things that they couldn't figure out. The person that the Godfather wanted to invite to kill Eric was definitely a very difficult choice for them. What should they do? Let Su Yun tell them the answer. Brothers, do me a favor. Take this person back and tell Godfather that I'll still wait for him here. If Godfather is sincere, I believe he will know what to do. This was the most direct provocation to Godfather. Bai Xiaoye watched as the mafia men dragged Eric's body away. She looked at Su Yun in confusion. Didn't you say you didn't want to make things so tense? I had no choice. When enemies meet, their eyes turn red, Su Yun said. There was once a Special Forces scout named Sun Debao who went to the Dragon Brigade for a period of special training. It was Su Yun who taught him. Sun Debao was a good and loyal person. That was why he had a good relationship with Su Yun. Later, he left after finishing his training. He committed a grave mistake during a mission and was expelled from the army. What he had learned in his life couldn't be used anywhere else. In order to make a living, he brought his family to the United States to fight in New York. Su Yun had always been in contact with him, but the bad news came suddenly. Sun DeBeo died in the boxing ring. The person who killed him was New York's great white shark, Eric. Su Yun knew very well that he would die for nothing if he fought in the underground boxing ring. But later, he heard that Eric was a racist. Sun DeBeo had already admitted defeat, but he still killed him. It had been a long time, and the anger in Su Yun's heart had long disappeared. Therefore, when New York's great white shark stood in front of him and told him that he was Eric, Su Yun wasn't angry. However, the murderous intent in his heart had started to grow rapidly. Soon, it reached a point where he couldn't control it. Things shouldn't have developed like this. Su Yun should have gone back with Godfather's trusted men for tea and a chat. They would have made friends and compared their shrewdness before getting down to business. But now, Su Yun really couldn't predict how things would develop. Godfather might really come to invite him personally. There was a 50% chance that Godfather would really use a helicopter and shoot a missile to kill him, just like in the movies. There was also a 50% chance that Godfather would use a helicopter and shoot a missile to kill him. Let fate decide. That wasn't Su Yun's style. Do you want to go to the Starbucks diagonally across the street for a cup of coffee? Su Yun pointed outside and asked Bai Xiaoye. So luxurious? Bai Xiaoye was stunned. Aren't you going to wait for Randolph here? I'm going to wait, but I'm afraid that he'll really send a helicopter to kill us, Su Yun said. After all, I broke his right-hand man. Bai Xiaoye snorted. Didn't you say that this isn't a movie? What's wrong? Are you in character now? Do you think you're Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Do you really think they'll use a missile to kill you? Chapter 1142. TSK. Bai Xiaoye did not care about Su Yun's words. If they really dare to arrange for a few helicopters to shoot us down, I'll really give in to the Gambino family and the American Mafia. But if they don't come, I'll really look down on them. If the godfather of a big family is nothing more than this, then the entire American Mafia is nothing more than this. Why are you even more stubborn than I am? Randolph is not a fierce and domineering mafia boss. He's famous for being gentle and benevolent. He's never a ferocious man with a gun at his waist, a gold chain around his neck, or a tattoo on his chest. This kind of person is even harder to figure out than a ferocious man, Su Yun said. Stop fooling around. I'm serious. Let's leave first and observe in the dark. Regardless of whether you're from the ancient times or the modern times, you're all about integrity. You said that you'd wait for him here. What if he arrives and you're not around? Bai Xiaoye frowned and said, the Mafia is also part of the underworld. They definitely care about these things. What did she mean? Was she talking about integrity with a person who appeared gentle and benevolent on the surface but was so cruel that he could even kill his own parents, wife, and children for his own benefits? Was there a mistake? The Mafia believed that a great man must be ruthless. Integrity was the most worthless thing in their eyes. It could be seen from their loan shark company that they would always use their methods to achieve their goal of controlling and profiting. Once they felt that a person was no longer useful to them, they would directly abandon them without any pity. Do you think you're from the Mafia in Causeway Bay? Su Yun coughed softly and started singing. In terms of background, powerful. In terms of friends, I won't admit defeat. Blades and swords, let me break into the Mafia to show off my abilities. My heart will shake the family, even if I die, I won't be shocked, let my blood flow. All right. You sing so well. If Randolph really comes later, just sing a song. I guarantee that you'll take his life. Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. As far as Randolph was concerned, it was unforgivable for anyone to touch his money in his territory. Then, it was unforgivable for someone to touch his people in his territory, a core member of the Gambino family. He must be executed. Otherwise, how could he face people in America, New York, and Brooklyn in the future. Whoever dared to touch his people would be making him lose face. Almost everyone in the Big Apple knew that Eric, the Great White Shark of New York, was Randolph's right-hand man. Anyone who dared to hurt Eric would be disrespectful to Randolph. As the saying goes, if you want to beat a dog, you have to look at its owner. After all, Eric was Randolph's man. Even if he had to die, only Randolph could kill him. It was not up to others to teach the people around him a lesson. No matter how crazy the dog was, only the owner had the right to hit the dog. Pa! Randolph slammed his palm down, nearly shattering the glass table. Ever since Eric submitted to him, he had helped the Gambino family a lot. It could be said that he had contributed a lot. However, he didn't expect to die so suddenly. Even Randolph felt that Eric was making a fuss over such a trivial matter. However, he didn't expect that Eric would die like this. The other party was so arrogant that he wanted Randolph to welcome them personally? Humph. Someone who could easily kill Eric was obviously not an ordinary person. However, if they thought that they could step on Randolph's head like this, they were too naive. Tell Sydney to get ready. Tonight, I will let them know the consequences of going against me. Flames of anger flashed in Randolph's eyes. He was going to blow these two arrogant bastards up until they couldn't even find their ashes. Just as his subordinates were about to make the arrangements, Randolph suddenly realized another problem. Wait a minute. Randolph had always been calm when giving orders. He had never gone back on his words. However, this time he hesitated. He suddenly felt that it was best for him to go there personally. Because these two arrogant, domineering, and powerful young men were Chinese from the East. Gu Guolong, who was under house arrest in one of his mansions, was also from Huaxia. Could it be that these two young men were experts hired by the Big Circle? Randolph's intuition was very sharp. After he realized the complexity of the problem, he took back his words. Sydney doesn't need to do it. I will go there personally. I want to see who they are. There was a saying that one would not wake up early if there were no benefits. Randolph chose to take the initiative because he was curious whether these two young men were related to Gu Guolong. If other than the American government, there were other people who were looking for Gu Guolong. It meant that it was right for him to keep Gu Guolong under house arrest. There must be a huge benefit involved. Since there were interests involved, and Randolph had intervened in the affairs of the Vancouver Circle at the request of the government, and Gu Guolong was captured by his men, he had to figure out the interests involved. Otherwise, he would not give up. When the U.S. government asked him to do something shady, it was also for the sake of their own image. The condition was to release one of his most capable men, Sydney, from prison and erase all of his criminal records. When Randolph brought Gu Guolong back to New York, the American government kept their promise and released him. They also cleared all of Sydney's criminal records. Randolph was shocked because Sydney's crime was too serious. He should have been sentenced to death. Randolph spent a lot of effort to bribe the people in the church, and the whole society was against the death penalty. That was how Sydney was spared temporarily. But now, the U.S. government was willing to release Sydney for the sake of a Chinese leader. This made Randolph taste the sweetness of victory. Therefore, he chose to break the contract. After the American government released Sydney, he did not release Gu Guolong. Instead, he made more unreasonable demands. Randolph was testing the bottom line of the American government. He could only judge Gu Guolong's value when he knew the bottom line. But now, the sudden appearance of these two young men messed up Randolph's judgment. He decided to meet these two young men in person, even though they had caused him to lose a lot of money and a capable right-hand man in his territory. But if he could get more valuable information from them, all the sacrifices would be worth it. There were no eternal friends and no eternal enemies. There were only eternal benefits. This was Randolph's principle. Just a second ago, he couldn't wait to tear out the tendons of these two troublemakers. But now, he wanted to become friends with these two people so that he could maximize his own benefits. Benefits could make people change their minds in a very short period of time. Godfather, this is just a small matter. You don't have to come in person, do you? Randolph's subordinate looked at him in surprise. Randolph smiled and shook his head. Some things may seem small, but you may find that they are big things after you investigate them. Get ready and leave now. Don't let the two kids wait too long. We are the hosts. We must treat our friends well. Godfather, the hospitality you speak of refers to. Chapter 1143. Randolph could not believe it. When he arrived at the scene, it was already empty. Bastard! Someone dared to trick him. As the godfather of the Gambino family, Randolph did not expect this at all. He remembered the person who dared to make an appointment with him and stood him up. He was afraid that his corpse was already rotten. Godfather! What should we do now? Randolph raised his head and closed his eyes. He took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. It had been a long time since he was challenged like this. Now that he felt it again, it was really interesting. All right, since you guys want to play, then I'll play with you to your heart's content. Go and find the surveillance footage, Randolph said calmly. He did not believe that these two little things could escape from his hands. His subordinate immediately went to look for the surveillance footage. However, the footage was of Wesley killing Cui Zhijing. After Wesley killed Cui Zhijing, the footage became static. Randolph raised his head and looked at the surveillance footage in the office. The camera was destroyed by something. He did not expect these two young people to be so careful. They did not leave any trace of them since they entered. However, it did not matter. Although Eric was dead, there was still Wesley. Wesley had seen them. As long as his family saw them, they would not be able to leave New York alive. New York was not a place where you could leave as you wished. Randolph clenched his fist tighter and tighter. He had to let those who dared to trick him understand that it was not so easy to write the word death. Godfather! Suddenly, a subordinate who was waiting outside hurriedly ran in and said to Randolph, those two people. Speak clearly. What are you panicking for? Randolph frowned and stared at him. Randolph's subordinate swallowed his saliva and said, Yes. It's those two people, they're both outside. What? Of course, Randolph knew who his subordinate was referring to. It's the two who killed Eric. Slap. Randolph slapped him and said, Of course I know. After saying that, he hurriedly strode out. Although he was beaten, his men still rushed to the front to open the door for their godfather. Randolph finally met the two young men who made him so emotional overnight. A man and a woman. No matter how one looked at them, they were the standard Hua Xia people. The man was tall and handsome, and he was much more handsome than the short Japanese men. However, this kind of Hua Xia man's handsomeness was different from the so-called sissy pretty boys in Korea. He had the strength and manliness that a man should have, and he was not effeminate. The girl was also a standard Hua Xia beauty. Her frame was smaller than that of European and American girls. No matter how one looked at her, she looked delicate and charming. It was easy for men to have a strong desire to protect her. This was where Bai Xiaoye was dangerous. Although the roses were beautiful, they would prick one's hand if one was not careful. Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye stood in front of Randolph's Lincoln. Randolph's men aimed their guns at their heads, but they showed no fear on their faces. As long as Randolph didn't arrange for helicopters to bomb them with portable missiles, Su Yun would understand his intention. Since he had come in person, it was clear that he wanted things to develop peacefully and end peacefully. He didn't want to make things too tense. Godfather, I'm Su Dada. I've heard a lot about you, Godfather. Now that I've seen it today, it's indeed extraordinary. Su Yun's words carried a strong taste of the martial world. Randolph was expressionless. He was neither happy nor angry. He sized up Su Yun again calmly. He wanted to know how this ordinary-looking young man could kill his favorite subordinate, Eric. The old fox was indeed an old fox. He didn't show any weakness. Su Yun couldn't see any emotion or weakness from him. He didn't know where to start. Bai Xiaoye murmured, You're quite arrogant. Since Randolph wanted to wait and see, Su Yun decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. He became silent and stared at Randolph. Randolph frowned. This young man is really interesting. Humph. Not simple. Not simple at all. Su Dada. Good name. Finally, Randolph blandly opened his mouth. I was just thinking, we don't have any grudges between us. Why do you want to mess with me? I think you should be very clear that in New York, or even in the entire United States, there aren't many people alive who dare to do what I did. And then, Su Yun said, Godfather, are you saying that you're going to take my life today? Randolph smiled casually. What do you think, little brother? Ha ha ha. Su Yun raised his head and laughed. If Godfather wanted to kill me, he wouldn't have come here personally. With Godfather's power, it shouldn't be difficult for him to mobilize a few planes or tanks. What do you think? If he wanted to kill me, he wouldn't be here listening to me. Randolph also laughed when he heard Su Yun's flattery and provocation. Ha ha ha, Su Dada, you think too highly of me. I'm a member of the Mafia, not a terrorist. I'm not as scary as you say. Bai Xiaoye couldn't help but laugh when she heard Randolph call Su Yun Dada. It was the local dialect of a certain district in Shenzhen. Ahem. Su Yun coughed lightly, indicating that Bai Xiaoye should not spoil the atmosphere in such a serious occasion. Godfather, why did you bring so many people here? Didn't you do all this just to get me to treat you to a cup of tea? I've already paid such a heavy price. If I don't listen to Su Dada's words, I'll have to suffer in silence. Randolph said. Let's go. Please come to my house. Su Yun's goal was to get Randolph to treat him. Now that he had achieved his goal, he suddenly put on airs. Godfather, isn't it a bit too late today? Bai Xiaoye was about to get into the car. Is it still too late? What time is it? It's not even 10 o'clock yet. Ha ha ha, Su Dada, are you worried that you can't see the road at night? Or are you worried that I might? Randolph was confused. Both. Su Yun said. After all, I feel a bit uneasy when you're so friendly. Randolph's expression changed. All right, I'll change my method. He clapped his hands, and all his men took out their weapons and pointed them at Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye. Randolph didn't even turn his head as he got into the car. Take him away, he said indifferently. Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. Why are you refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? The wine he offered me is not that good. Su Yun said, I need to be alone. When I'm facing him, I feel that he can see through my thoughts. I don't know how to deal with him. While they were talking, the two of them were already taken to another car. This way, I won't have to face him on the way. I'll have time to think about what to do and organize my words. Su Yun said. Didn't you organize your words in the coffee shop just now? Bai Xiaoye asked. Su Yun shook his head. I didn't expect that he would come to pick us up. I was already prepared to face the assassins he arranged. Although he didn't understand most of what Su Yun said, he could still understand the words palmistry and astrology. There were also masters on the streets of New York who flaunted their power to tell fortunes. You know how to read palms? Seeing that the other party was interested, Su Yun smiled mysteriously. Well, Grandmaster, if you really know how to read it, can you help me take a look as well? It could be seen that the other party's expression was somewhat anxious. He probably had bad luck recently. Therefore, he definitely didn't want to miss this opportunity to meet such a master who could read palms. The secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. Su Yun shook his head. The more the other party saw Su Yun acting this way, the more he believed him. He stretched out his black face and said, Grandmaster, what are your conditions? Feel free to state them. Since you're so sincere, I'll help you. Su Yun stared at the mafia member in front of him and said, From your face, your glabella is dark. Bai Xiaoye couldn't help but laugh. Dark glabella? To think that you can say something like that. This guy is a black man. Other than his teeth, the whites of his eyes, and the soles of his palms and feet, which part of him doesn't turn dark? You might as well say that his glabella is white. That would be more convincing. What are you laughing at? Be serious. Su Yun also realized his slip of the tongue. When I said dark, I didn't mean a superficial dark skin tone. When I said dark glabella, I meant that there are invisible dark clouds in your glabella. The other party looked at Su Yun suspiciously. Dark clouds? Why can't I see them? If you can see them, you'll be a grandmaster. Then, you won't be a small thug by Godfather's side. You can directly become Godfather's military advisor, Su Yun said evilly. Have you been walking a lot lately? What do you mean? The other party froze. It means that you're unlucky. For example. Su Yun paused. He noticed that there were a few thin scars on the other party's neck. These scars were obviously caused by a woman's nails. For example, you did something you shouldn't have done, and your wife found out. Then, you were scratched at home. The other party's eyes lit up. Grandmaster, how do you know? I was scratched by my wife the day before yesterday. Hearing Old Hay's words, the person sitting next to him, who had been unwilling to believe it from the beginning, was stunned. Was this for real? That awesome? This is the sign of a dark glabella. You're going to have a bloody disaster, Su Yun said as he carefully observed all kinds of details. Soon, Su Yun noticed the difference between the black man's pants. One of the pants looked loose, while the other was tight. If he wasn't wrong, the tight leg must have been injured. Visually, it was tied with gauze, and it was wrapped in many circles. It was either a serious knife wound or a gunshot wound. If the knife wound was serious enough to require so many bandages, who knew how many stitches would be needed? If that was the case, walking would be affected. However, this person didn't seem to have any problems walking. It was most likely a gunshot wound. A gunshot wound wouldn't tear the flesh. As long as the bullet was taken out, it would definitely hurt. However, for a country full of guns, a mafia member being shot was probably a common occurrence, right? This kind of pain was nothing to them. You've been shot recently. Su Yun quickly confirmed his judgment. Your left leg was injured. Ah. This time, not only was Blackie surprised, but the guy next to him was also convinced. 4 days ago, Blackie had been shot in the left leg. He was there, so he knew very well. This guy was really a god. A master was a master. He could tell just by looking at the face. Master, can you take a look at me too? When can I take my career to the next level? The guy next to Blackie asked. Of course. Su Yun smiled. Actually, tonight is an important moment. Eric is dead, and one of you will definitely be promoted. And this person will definitely want to make an example out of me. The two were slightly stunned. That was right. If they wanted to be promoted, they would also kill Su Yun. But that's wrong, Su Yun said calmly. Since I can deal with Eric, I'm not afraid of the rest of you. Also, if smart people think about it carefully, they should understand that since Godfather invited me back to talk, it means that he knows what to talk to me about in order to get the most benefits, and not to kill me. The two stared at Su Yun with wide eyes. What do you mean? I'm a master. I've read a lot. I won't lie to you. Su Yun said, someone will definitely want to kill me tonight. If you step forward and help me out, I believe Godfather will give you a big credit. Seeing the confusion on their faces, Su Yun continued, of course, you can also ignore it. Since I can predict that someone will want to kill me tonight, I'm not afraid of a sneak attack. I'm telling you this because I think we're fated, and I'm giving you a chance to be promoted. Do you understand? The two finally understood and nodded vigorously. They were so lucky to be able to receive guidance from a master. Bai Xiaoya lowered her voice and whispered into Su Yun's ear, is it fun to fool them? Su Yun also whispered into Bai Xiaoya's ear when the two people watching them were not paying attention. Of course it's fun. I'm just fooling them. Since Randolph asked these two to escort us back, it means that he trusts them. If he wants to kill us, he will definitely give them a signal. Fooling them is equivalent to giving us a bulletproof vest. Chapter 1145. Finally, the car arrived at Randolph's supermansion in Queens, New York. Although the land in the U.S. was scarce, the value of the land was closely related to the land. Randolph's mansion in Queens, New York, was located at a location. The value of 1 square meter of Randolph's mansion was estimated to be able to buy a small villa in Indiana or South Carolina. When it came to real estate, many people would start cursing. Just by searching on the internet, a 3-bedroom villa in South Carolina was only worth $80,000, which was less than 500,000 renminbi. That villa had buildings, courtyards, and lawns. Huaxia. Take Tsufu, known as the cultural center of Huaxia, the hometown of Confucius and Mencius, as an example. It was a 4th-tier county. Green City's ordinary buildings in the suburbs were priced at 6,000 renminbi. If one wanted to buy a villa with a courtyard, it would cost 13,000 renminbi per square meter. The smallest house was at least 200 square meters. It would cost at least 3 million renminbi. What kind of difference was this? Tsufu was considered a 4th-tier county in China. Although South Carolina was not as famous as California or Texas in the United States, it was still considered a coastal city. But then again, socialism also had its benefits. Huaxia's houses had a lifespan of 70 years. But most of the houses in Huaxia would be demolished before the lifespan was 70 years. The newly allocated houses would have 70 years of lifespan. This was definitely a blessing to the people of Huaxia. The US was not like this. If you were to die of old age or become disabled and could not afford to pay taxes, the US would take back your house. You would not have a place to live. You would have to pay taxes to mend your lawn. Not to mention the payroll tax, inheritance tax, gasoline tax, customs tax, telephone tax, alcohol tax, aviation tax, tobacco tax. All these taxes were much more terrifying than Huaxia's taxes. How can a capitalist country be compared to socialism? There were too many aspects that like to look at the problem from a one-sided perspective. Of course, the Huaxia government should control this situation. Low taxes were an advantage. At least the commoners would not feel so much pressure. But high property prices were also a big problem. In most cities, property prices were more than 10,000 renminbi. A 2-bedroom house would cost more than 1 million RMB. A civil servant's monthly salary was only 2,000 to 3,000 renminbi. If he could not afford to buy a house in 30 years, how can the commoners afford it? Even if he sold his kidney, he wouldn't be able to afford it. Civil servants might have some gray income, but commoners had to spend whatever they earned. After the car stopped, Master Su and Bai Xiaoye got out of the car under the respectful invitation of the two mafias. Randolph didn't say anything as he walked into the room under the protection of a group of people. "Grandmaster Su, please." Blackie had almost become Su Yun's full-time bodyguard. After getting out of the car, he looked at the others in a different way. People were like this. Once they were fooled, their minds would stop working. They would only believe that as long as he protected Master Su Yun, his godfather would let him get promoted and become rich. They would not think rationally about what his godfather was thinking. It was not what Su Yun said, but what his godfather thought. Su Yun had used the usual tricks of many swindlers in the country to figure out the other party's needs, and through observation, he had directly taken the other party down. Therefore, the other party was originally a black man. When Su Yun said that his glabella was black, he also believed it. His brain had stopped working, and he did not know that he was originally black. In the luxuriously decorated villa, there were famous paintings on the wall, and there were some famous sculptures on the table. It was indeed a big scene for Su Yun, but it was nothing in Bai Xiaoye's eyes. Zhua Langyue was a collector, and her collection was much more than Randolph's. The things in Randolph's living room were just a drop in the ocean for Zhua Langyue. After taking a seat, only the servant served Randolph a cup of coffee, completely ignoring the two guests, Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye. "Ha ha ha, godfather, if you want to show your power to me, I don't mind. After all, I made you lose a lot of money and a person. Su Yun went straight to the point and said, So, I can understand if you want me to suffer a little. However, I'm afraid it's a little unreasonable to treat your guests so coldly. I know Huaxia people like you are very happy when friends come from afar, Randolph said. I'm also very particular about it. I admire the Confucian teacher, Confucius. The reason why I can be where I am today is because of Confucius's famous saying, among three people, there is always one who can learn from me. If it weren't for Confucius's words, I wouldn't be where I am today. Su Yun raised his eyebrows. Actually, a hoodlum was not scary, but a cultured hoodlum was scary. Randolph was definitely a cultured person, and he could even say one or two sentences of the Analects of Confucius. Although it was not rare in Huaxia, and all the kindergarten students could say one or two sentences of the Analects of Confucius, those who couldn't would be bad students in the future. Not many people knew about Confucius in the mafia circle in America. Su Yun was surprised that Randolph could speak so clearly and logically. I didn't expect Godfather to know so much about Huaxia's Confucian culture. Su Yun smiled. It was necessary to be careful when dealing with a cultured hoodlum. I have been to Tsufu, Mount Enai, and Confucius's cave, Randolph said calmly. Su Yun smiled. A gentleman's virtue, a petty man's soil, a gentleman's punishment, a petty man's favor. A gentleman is slow in speech, but quick in action. A gentleman talks about righteousness, a petty man talks about profit. Randolph was stunned. It was already impressive for him to know a few sentences of the Analects of Confucius, but Su Yun's parallel sentences of gentleman and petty man made his head hurt. But from the literal meaning, it wasn't difficult for Randolph to understand that Su Yun was calling him a villain in disguise, because he did everything for the sake of profit, not righteousness. Godfather, do you think of yourself as a gentleman or a petty man? Su Yun smiled. I can't be compared to Confucius, Randolph said. Randolph said, since Su Dada has made things so clear, then why don't we be frank? I will negotiate with Su Dada peacefully for the sake of benefits. I am the head of the Gambino family, and there are hundreds of mouths in the family waiting for me to make a decision before they can eat. The title of gentleman is worthless to me. What I care about is maximizing the benefits. Maximizing the benefits? Su Yun nodded. I understand what Godfather is trying to say. Then I won't beat around the bush. How is old Master Gu? Of course he is. Randolph smiled. He is very good. Can I meet him? Su Yun asked. Of course not. Randolph put away his smile and said, Give me a reason. If your reason is good enough, I might give you a chance. However, if your reason is not good enough, don't blame me for being ruthless. Su Yun laughed and did not continue with Randolph's words. Godfather, if I can't see old Master Gu, how can I trust you? I'm afraid the two of us can't be considered friends now. You are not righteous to begin with, so I can't trust you. If I'm not wrong, what you want to do the most now is not to kill me, but to use me to maximize your benefits. Therefore, I have the right to state my conditions. Just as Su Yun finished speaking, someone suddenly took out a gun and stood out, directly shouting at Su Yun, Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to Godfather like this? Do you believe that I will kill you right now? Without needing Su Yun to say anything, Blackie took out his gun and aimed at his own people. Put down your gun. Su Dada is here to discuss benefits with Godfather. You better show some respect. Chapter 1146. Randolph frowned. This young man was really cunning. He didn't expect that Hunter would speak up for him in such a short time when he arranged for Hunter to escort the carriage. What should Randolph do when faced with such a tough young man? Randolph didn't listen to reason or force, and he didn't show his interest in cooperating with him first. Randolph couldn't kill him either. Killing these two people was just to vent his anger. Randolph had already lost what he should have lost. At this moment, if one of them showed his interest and desire for benefits, it would mean that the other party had the upper hand. Randolph would be at a disadvantage in many ways. Randolph was very experienced in this aspect. He always liked to use this method to get more benefits from his partners. Randolph would always wait until the last moment to speak when it came to the desire for benefits. However, it was different this time. This time, Randolph didn't see any desire for benefits on Soo-Yun's face. Instead, Soo-Yun thought that the benefits were immeasurable. Therefore, Randolph was more interested in it. Soo-Yun didn't show any desire for benefits because he didn't need to pretend at all. He wanted to find and save Gu Guolong because of Gu Chia. It had nothing to do with anything else. Not only there were no benefits, but there was also the American Empire behind him. If the American agents found Gu Guolong earlier, it would be more difficult for him to save Gu Guolong. No matter how powerful Randolph was, he was just a godfather of the mafia. Soo-Yun couldn't afford to offend him. At most, they would send people to chase him all the way to Huaxia. However, the American government was not so easy to offend. If a group of American agents were to go on a rampage, it would not be fun. Moreover, the American military was very powerful. They might even arrange for 2 reborn bio-warriors to fight him to the death. If you can get Gu Guolong from me, what can I get in return? Randolph was a person who valued benefits above all else. Nothing was more important than benefits to him. Soo-Yun didn't know how to answer this question. He couldn't give Randolph anything. Godfather, what do you want? The US government can give me 1 billion renminbi and the freedom to sell marijuana in Brooklyn. Randolph said. Can you give me this? Soo-Yun smiled. Godfather, if the US government really agrees to give you the right to sell marijuana in Brooklyn, what are you waiting for? This is equivalent to the NBA getting unlimited shooting rights. It's every player's dream. Randolph didn't answer. With Soo-Yun's shrewdness, he wouldn't be fooled. No country or government would allow a drug dealer to sell marijuana and heroin in their territory. Godfather, forgive me for being blunt, but I'm afraid the US government can only promise you 1 billion USD, Soo-Yun said casually. 1 billion USD. What a terrifying number. Just from this point alone, it could be seen how important Matthew was to the US government. They would not miss any opportunity. But the right not to interfere with the sale of marijuana was impossible. Oh. Randolph smiled. Since Dada Soo thinks so, does that mean you can give me this benefit? Although Soo-Yun was still terrified by the amount of 1 billion USD, he still used the word only. Obviously, he did it on purpose. If he didn't say it on purpose, why would Randolph's eyes light up? Godfather, you must be joking. You have such a big business, and the Gambino family is such a big business. Why would they care about this small amount? Soo-Yun smiled. Let's talk about old Gu first. At least, I can be sure that old Gu is really in your hands. So, Dada Soo doesn't trust me? Randolph was getting more and more interested in Soo-Yun. Even 1 billion USD was just a small amount to him. How much was this small amount? Of course not, Soo-Yun said. I still trust you, Godfather. I'm just worried about whether old Gu's place is safe. If old Gu's place is targeted by the government, wouldn't that be? Randolph understood Soo-Yun's concern. Dada Soo, I believe that we are fated to meet. Even if you don't tell me what you can give me now, I can still bring you to see old Master Gu. However, let's make things clear. If you can give me something that I don't like, don't blame me for falling out with you. So what if I fall out with you? Soo-Yun was smiling on the surface, but he had already made up his mind. If I fall out with you, so be it. I don't believe that a grandmaster can do anything to me. Ha ha ha, didn't I already say that it's just a small amount? How could Godfather be interested in it? Soo-Yun smiled as he tried to smooth things over. He didn't care about the consequences. He wanted to see old Master Gu first. As long as Gu Guolong was fine, he, Soo-Yun, was not afraid of anything. Randolph also smiled brightly. That's not necessarily the case. Dada Soo might just be able to offer me something that suits my taste. I love watermelons. Ha ha ha. Oh, Godfather, you're really giving me face. Soo-Yun hurriedly said, I don't know if Godfather likes to eat Black Beauty or Special Small Phoenix. I like both. Randolph didn't want to continue this joke. Dada Sue, if you really want to see Old Master Goo, I can arrange it now. Thank you, Godfather. Then, I'll also send someone to arrange what you want. If possible, it'd be best if we can reach a deal today. I'm a straightforward person. As long as I'm sure that Old Master Goo is fine, I'm willing to pay twice as much, let alone 3 melons or 2 dates, Soo-yoon said seriously. Randolph liked this kind of straightforwardness. As long as he could pay twice as much as the U.S. government, he wouldn't hesitate. This deal would be a deal. Soo-yoon pulled Bai Xiaoye to her side and whispered a few words into her ear. Bai Xiaoye's expression could be described as colorful and varied. She was shocked and in disbelief. She looked at Soo-yoon as if she was looking at a monster. After hearing Soo-yoon's words, Bai Xiaoye seemed to be anxious. Are you sure you want to do this? Aren't you going to? I've made up my mind. Soo-yoon stopped whispering and stood up. Since I've promised Godfather, I have to show him my sincerity. Otherwise, how can we talk about this deal? Since Godfather trusts me so much, if I'm still stingy, I'll be disrespecting Godfather. Randolph was slightly surprised. He didn't hear what the two of them were talking about, but he was sure from the girl's expression that Soo-yoon's bargaining chip was absolutely shocking, and no one would be able to guess it. Otherwise, the girl wouldn't be so surprised. All right. You can go and prepare now. Soo-yoon said to Bai Xiaoye. I'll wait until I see Old Master Goo. I want to see Godfather's sincerity first. Of course. Randolph nodded. Sincerity is an agreement between both parties. I believe in Dada Sue's sincerity. Godfather, I'm a man of my words. Soo-yoon said. I'm more trustworthy than the U.S. government. All right. Let's go now. Randolph made up his mind. He wanted to take a gamble. He wanted to believe in this young man in front of him. This young man could say $1 billion was nothing, tear a will worth over $100 million into pieces, and kill his subordinate, the Great White Shark of New York. All these actions showed that this young man was extraordinary. Chapter 1147. This time, Soo-yoon did not leave Queens in someone else's car. Instead, he was personally invited by Randolph to sit in his car. A person who treated $1 billion as nothing was definitely worthy of the Gambino family's godfather's respect. Even if Gambino was still alive, he would definitely look at Soo-yoon in a different light, let alone Randolph. The distance between one rich person's villa and another rich person's villa was not far. However, because Randolph was openly sheltering Gu Guolong, the American government would never have thought that Randolph would arrange for Gu Guolong to stay in one of his private villas and treat Gu Guolong like a queen. The American government had been investigating Randolph's shady strongholds. Even though Brooklyn could not be compared to the Upper East Side and Long Island, it did not mean that the rich villas in this area were easy to mess with. Therefore, even though the American government often saw Randolph going in and out of the villas in this area, they still thought that he was running around for his marijuana business in Brooklyn. Soo-yoon finally met Gu Guolong. Gu Guolong's face was obviously a lot more haggard. However, Soo-yoon could tell that Randolph did not make him suffer any physical pain. When Gu Guolong saw Soo-yoon, the first thing that came to his mind was to ask about his daughter. He had nothing to worry about now. It did not matter even if he lost his life. However, news about his daughter was very important to him. Since Soo-yoon could come to New York and meet him personally under Randolph's lead, he believed that Soo-yoon had the ability to find out about Gu Chia. Soo-yoon only needed a glance to convey what he wanted to say. He comforted Gu Guolong to calm down and told him that he would tell him everything later when he had the chance. Right now, he needed Gu Guolong to calm down and not do anything rash. He needed Gu Guolong to pretend to be someone he was not familiar with. After all, Gu Guolong had known people for many years. He could still understand the meaning in Soo-yoon's eyes. Since Soo-yoon appeared here, it meant that he wanted to take him away. As long as he cooperated with Soo-yoon, it would be fine. Randolph smiled. Old Master Gu, I brought a friend to meet you. I'm sure you'll be happy. I'm quite happy, Gu Guolong said, but I'll be even happier when I leave. Su Yun quickly sent a message to Bai Xiaoye before putting his phone back into his pocket with a smile. Old Gu, since I'm here, you should know what I'm here for. I've reached an agreement with the Godfather. I'm here to take you away. I'm already a cripple. I really don't understand why there are so many people interested in me. Gu Guolong shook his head helplessly. Everyone has different values, and in the eyes of different people, their values are also different. Su Yun, Godfather, don't you think so? If you keep Old Master Gu by your side, it will be meaningless. But if you leave Old Master Gu to me, it'll be different. Randolph smiled. The American government wants Old Master Gu because they want to find a guy named Kevin Matthew through him. What about you? Dada Su, you asked me for Old Master Gu. What do you want to do with him? I'm afraid I can't tell you that. Godfather, since Old Master Gu is fine, let's. Randolph could not understand the meaning behind Su Yun's smile. Well, Mr. Su, you haven't told me what you can give me, Randolph said. Su Yun shrugged. I remember I've told you many times. Randolph's expression changed. Dada Su, what do you mean? I'm an honest person, Godfather. I always keep my promises. Su Yun, I told you that you wouldn't like the melons and dates I gave you. You said you would like them, so you brought me to see Old Master Gu. I also said that if Old Master Gu is fine and you take good care of him, I'll double the amount. The melons and dates will be 6 melons and 4 dates. Randolph's fists trembled, and the muscles on his face started to tremble. He hoped that the young man in front of him was just joking with him. No one had dared to trick him like this in his entire life. I even asked you if you liked Tilo Feng or Black Beauty. You said anything, so I prepared 3 Black Beauties, 3 Tilo Feng, and 6 watermelons for you. That's enough for the occasion. Su Yun said, as for the dates, I got someone to weigh 1 kilogram for you. Isn't that generous enough? Randolph slammed his fist on the table. Dada Su, although I respect you for being young and capable, you should stop joking with me. I'm not joking with you. Bai Xiaoye left earlier to buy watermelons and dates from the supermarket. Su Yun sent her messages on the way to tell her where they were going. Just now, Su Yun told Bai Xiaoye that she could come in. Bai Xiaoye immediately took care of the bodyguards outside the villa and walked in with 6 small watermelons and 1 kilogram of dates. Here are the things you wanted, Bai Xiaoye said to Randolph with the watermelons and dates. Randolph couldn't stand it. How dare they play a joke in my territory with a few watermelons? They must be crazy. This is New York, my territory. Fine, fine, fine. I trusted you, but you played me like this. Do you really think you can escape from my territory? Randolph scolded angrily. Do you really think I only have a dozen bodyguards in the courtyard? Humph, in New York, if you're a dragon, you'll have to lie down. If you're a tiger, you'll have to lie down. After a few claps, Randolph's villa was soon surrounded by people from outside. Su Yun could tell from the aura alone that there were simply too many people. Of course, Randolph wasn't a fool. Before he brought Su Yun here, he had already ordered his best subordinate, Sydney, to set up an ambush here. As long as he gave the signal, a few hundred people would instantly surround this villa. Su Yun, what should we do? Gu Guolong wanted to escape. Only by leaving this place could he have a chance to see his daughter. Su Yun also knew that this was going to be a fierce battle. It was definitely not going to be easy to deal with. Being surrounded by so many people, it was definitely not going to be easy to leave. After turning hostile, Randolph was immediately surrounded by a few bodyguards. Among the bodyguards protecting him, one of them was Old Black with a black glabella. Obviously, this time, he was really going to be in a bloody disaster. However, he wasn't the only one who was going to die. He was going to die because of everyone here. Just when Randolph was about to order Sydney and his men to rush in and trample Su Yun's group into meat paste, gunshots were heard from the outside. A fierce battle broke out in an instant. Is there an internal conflict? Su Yun was stunned for a moment. Wasn't this a little too sudden? At the very least, he should have used his silver tongue to coax them a little before starting an internal conflict. Randolph's expression changed when he heard the gunshots. They're from the government. Take Gu Guolong away. Godfather, I'm afraid that no one will have a chance to take Master Gu away with me here. Su Yun sneered. He didn't give Randolph a chance to speak. He rushed forward and killed the 2 bodyguards who were about to detain Gu Guolong. Bai Xiaoye didn't stay idle either. She threw a bag of watermelons at them and knocked them out. She followed Su Yun and took down the bodyguards beside Randolph. Bai Xiaoye wanted to attack Randolph, but Su Yun stopped her and said to Randolph, Godfather, I really have to thank you for this. If you didn't stop old Gu, I wouldn't know how to save him from the government. Thank you. You can eat the watermelons. If you have the chance to go to Hua Xiar in the future, remember to look for me. I'll treat you to Quanjud's roast duck. Chapter 1148. The battle outside was getting more and more intense. The government's agents were no joke. No matter how powerful the Gambino family was, they were just a mafia organization. As the most powerful government organization in the world, would they be afraid of a mere mafia organization? Of course not. The American government would turn a blind eye to this because although the Gambino family had done many evil deeds, they had also brought a lot of benefits to the country. Their existence had also pushed forward the country's economy in a certain way. This logic was very simple. There would be such situations in any country. Some people would do things that were against the rules, but under certain circumstances, they could bring about some good things. The country would then turn a blind eye to it. It was just like how some projects were against the rules, but they solved the employment problem and did not evade the country's taxes. As for other things, they were just small matters. However, once a certain action really angered the country and there was a serious conflict of interests, the government would not care about what capabilities the person had. No matter how hard they tried, they would not be able to win. Randolph had been hiding Gu Guolong for too long. The American government had finally found an opportunity to gather evidence and investigate. As long as they took action, they would definitely do so with the goal of taking down this matter. Su Yun would not be so foolish as to stay here and fight. It was still easy to deal with the Gambino family, but with the government's agents, it would be a little troublesome. The Gambino family had already started fighting with the American government outside, giving Su Yun a chance to catch his breath. This was what they meant by, when the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. Do you think you'll be able to leave just like this? Randolph said coldly, Don't be so optimistic, young man. You won't have a chance. Regardless of whether my men win or the government's agents win, you won't have a chance to leave this place. This villa has been completely surrounded. Godfather, this villa of yours is near the south coast. I don't believe that there aren't any emergency escape routes here. As the saying goes, a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows. You're a cunning old fox. You should have at least 3 escape routes, right? Su Yun said, Escape by air? I don't have a plane. Since the ground is surrounded by your men and the government's agents, then there shouldn't be any problems with the water route, right? Randolph's countenance changed, but he did not say anything. Gu Guolong said, I haven't been staying here for nothing. I can be sure that there's a secret door. It's in the basement. Godfather, if there is only one boat, then I'm sorry. Su Yun smiled. Randolph couldn't sit still anymore. No matter what, he couldn't stay here. If he was caught, it would be a serious crime. There was such a big fight outside. If he was caught, he would not be able to escape punishment. He would not even be able to find someone to take the blame. Godfather, we can't take you with us. This place needs you. You have so many subordinates waiting for you to collect their corpses. Su Yun smiled. If fate wills it, we'll meet again. Randolph pointed at Su Yun and said viciously, Let me tell you, we will meet again. I will make you pay for what you did today. I will hunt you down no matter where you are. Okay, I'll wait for you. Su Yun didn't fall for his threats. Under Gu Guolong's lead, they quickly found the secret door. It was in the basement, and there was a small hidden dock and a small speedboat. It was obvious that Randolph had prepared it for himself. If he needed it, he could use it to escape. For example, today, after he was completely surrounded by the government agents, he needed to escape using this secret door. However, now that the only boat had been driven away, there was nothing he could do. The only way to turn the situation around was to stop the fight outside and shift the focus of the government agents to the escaping Gu Guolong. Randolph wanted to stop the fight immediately, but everything had developed to a point beyond his control. The bullets rained down, and the government agents seemed to have been injected with stimulants. They wouldn't stop until they killed all of them. The gunfight lasted for more than 20 minutes, and the Gambino family suffered countless casualties. Almost all of them were wiped out. Sidney, who led everyone in the fight, was also shot twice. He dragged his injured leg into the villa. As they were only focused on the fight outside, they didn't expect such a big change to happen in the villa. The bodyguards beside the Godfather were all sitting on the ground, and the Godfather was the only one left. Gu Guolong and Su Yun were also gone. Godfather? What happened? Sidney had been with Randolph since he was young, and he was definitely the person Randolph trusted the most. Otherwise, Randolph wouldn't have agreed to help the government agents go to Canada to capture people in order to get him out of prison. He risked offending the Dark Angel by doing so. Seeing his godfather's dejected expression, Sidney would definitely blame himself. He would blame himself for not coming to the room earlier. If he had come to the room earlier, perhaps things wouldn't have turned out like this. Where are they? Sidney realized the severity of the situation. They've already left. Randolph tried his best to calm his breathing. You should leave quickly too. You're good at swimming, so there's no point in staying here and dealing with this matter with me. I can't leave anymore. I believe that if the government wants to know who took Gu Guolong away from me, they won't make things difficult for me. Sidney shook his head. Godfather, leave. I'll take responsibility for this. Don't you understand what I mean? I'll be fine if I stay here, but you're different. It wasn't easy for me to get you out. If you get caught again, it'll be troublesome. Randolph was quite loyal. I have a bargaining chip, but you don't. Leave now. Then I'll bring you with me. I'm good at swimming, so I'll bring you out. We'll pay someone to take responsibility for us, Sidney said seriously. Randolph shook his head. If your leg isn't injured, I can consider it. After all, this waterway isn't close. If you bring me along, I'm afraid you won't be able to last that long. Stop talking nonsense. The more blood you lose, the harder it will be for you to escape. Leave now. But how dare you disobey my order? Randolph glared at him and said ferociously, I'm invited to have tea for a few days. You still need to take care of the family's affairs. Don't let anyone take advantage of this opportunity to cause internal strife. You know who I'm talking about. If he dares to cause trouble, you know what to do. Godfather, don't worry. No matter who it is, if he dares to cause trouble when you're not here, I'll teach him a lesson, Sidney said coldly. Randolph nodded. Then I'm relieved. You go now. Sidney felt the heavy responsibility on his shoulders. He had to leave quickly. Although his leg was shot twice, he should be able to swim out. The government agents finished the fight and rushed into the mansion. However, they found that the mansion was empty. The person they wanted was not there. Only Randolph was sitting on the sofa, drinking coffee and looking at them with a smile. Even if you're from the government, I'll sue you for trespassing. Randolph scolded. We have a search warrant. Your men shot first. The leader of the agents stood up. Godfather Randolph, this is a big thing. I'm afraid that you have to explain it to me personally. Where did you transfer the person we want to meet to? Randolph was still smiling. Kid, if you want me to explain it to you, then be nice to me. Don't disgust me. You. Chapter 1149. Randolph knew that if he cooperated with the government agents now, he might be able to catch Su Yun and Gu Guolong before they escaped from New York. However, he wouldn't cooperate with the government agents. The reason was simple. People in this line of work preferred to deal with grudges by themselves. Moreover, if Randolph helped the government to catch Gu Guolong, he wouldn't be able to catch him. Forget about the freedom to sell marijuana in Brooklyn, the $1 billion would probably go down the drain. Humans were selfish creatures, especially those who prioritized profit. They would prioritize profit over everything else. Randolph would rather deal with the government himself than leave the chance to catch Gu Guolong to the government. As long as he could survive this period, he wouldn't let go of the two young men who dared to trick him and Gu Guolong, even if he had to travel all over the world. Randolph was invited to have tea with the government agents, while Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye took the opportunity to leave New York with Gu Guolong. After they docked the boat, they immediately took a taxi to the parking lot where they parked their cars. Taking advantage of the dark and windy night, they drove back. From now on, Su Yun did not dare to delay even a minute. Every minute he delayed meant that he would be pursued by the American agents a minute earlier. He did not want to act out a real-life version of the Fast and the Furious. He was not driving a GTR, nor was he driving an SRT-8. His little broken car could not withstand the torment in the movie. How is Chia? Gu Guolong was still in danger, but he couldn't help but worry about his daughter's safety. Bai Xiaoye didn't want Su Yun to be distracted by driving, so she turned around and explained to Gu Guolong, "Don't worry, your daughter is fine. She's waiting for your good news in Vancouver." Obviously, Gu Guolong didn't believe this girl's words. "Mr. Gu, a lot has happened recently." Su Yun said, "Luckily, Chia is fine. Miss Celine from Dark Angel is taking care of her for me. I believe she's safe." Hearing that his daughter was in the hands of the Dark Angel, Gu Guolong could no longer sit still. Why is she with Celine? Everyone in Canada knows what kind of woman Celine is. If Celine gets together with her, she'll definitely. "Old Master Gu, you're thinking too much," Su Yun said. "You know what the circle is like now. If I want to find Gu Chia in Canada, I can only go through the Dark Angel. How can you look for them? The Dark Angels and the Great Circle are enemies." Gu Guolong was so shocked that he was speechless. "Grandpa, can you stop worrying?" Bai Xiaoye was getting impatient. "Since my brother said that your daughter is fine, then don't worry. Why do you have so many questions? If you don't believe us, then think of a way to take care of your daughter yourself. Do you know how much effort we put in to get the Dark Angel to help us find your daughter? He risked his life to ask for help, but you actually don't appreciate it and don't feel at ease." Gu Guolong blushed at Bai Xiaoye's words. That was indeed the case. "Xiaoye, how can you talk to old Master Gu like that?" Su Yun stopped Bai Xiaoye from complaining and explained to Gu Guolong, "Old Master Gu, I know that I didn't think things through, but I really had no choice. In Vancouver, other than knowing Celine through Matthew, I don't have any connections to help me deal with this." Gu Guolong nodded, embarrassed. "Old Master Gu, this happened because of me, so I'll take responsibility until the end. No matter what happens, as long as I, Su Yun, am still alive, I won't just stand by and watch you and Chia fall into danger." Su Yun was a man, and men had to have a sense of responsibility. "Thank you." Gu Guolong was about to cry. "I'm really sorry for making you work so hard for us. I'm the one who's sorry." Su Yun felt really guilty about the series of problems caused by Matthew's incident. The Gu family originally had nothing to do with this incident, but now, they were in such a predicament. Deep regret couldn't be erased from Su Yun's heart. Bai Xiaoye tried to smooth things over. "All right, it's all in the past. What should have happened was something none of us wanted to happen, but we had to face it. It's already pretty good that things have come to this point. Don't think too much about it." "You're right." Gu Guolong nodded. Only then did he realize that he didn't even know the girl in front of him. "Su Yun, may I know who this lady is?" "My sister Bai Xiaoye," Su Yun said. "Your sister?" Gu Guolong was stunned. "She's my biological sister," Su Yun added. He was afraid that the old man would misunderstand. In this day and age, a goddaughter was a mistress, and a godsister was a lover. It was all because of a certain group of people who didn't know how to behave properly and tainted so many beautiful names in order to avoid being noticed. In this day and age, those who weren't afraid of being misunderstood were either big bosses or officials who could cover the sky with one hand. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to have a goddaughter or godsister. They would all be spread around. Gu Guolong's expression was even more incredulous. If they were biological sisters, why didn't they have the same surname? What's going on? Su Yun didn't know how to explain, so he added, "We have the same father but different mothers." "I just found out." "Is there a need for you to explain so much?" Bai Xiaoye was a little unwilling to talk about her private matters in front of outsiders. Gu Guolong was definitely an outsider in front of her. It was already good enough that she didn't hate him when they met for the first time. It was normal that she didn't have a good impression of him. Gu Guolong said awkwardly, "No, there's no need." "Miss Bai, thank you so much for troubling you this time." "Don't thank me. If you want to thank someone, you should thank my brother. If it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't have come." Bai Xiaoye was really honest. If it wasn't for Su Yun, Bai Xiaoye wouldn't have come for this kind of stimulation no matter how much money was offered. Su Yun felt that Bai Xiaoye was too talkative, so he said, "You sleep for a while first. I'm too tired from driving tomorrow morning, so you can replace me. We don't have time to waste now. The earlier we leave the country, the safer it will be. We won't have time to park before we reach Seattle. Take the time to rest. After we reach Seattle, how are we going to return to Vancouver? You don't have to worry about that. I'll contact Celine and ask her to tell her father to arrange for someone to pick us up." Su Yun said. Actually, even if they reached Vancouver, it wasn't over yet. If the US government couldn't find Matthew, they would definitely look for Gu Guolong and Gu Chia. Su Yun could only bring them to Hua Xia for this matter to be resolved. They must stay out of the limelight. As long as Hua Xia announced to the public that Matthew had returned to the family and was loyal to Hua Xia, the US government wouldn't be able to do anything. At that time, Gu Guolong and Gu Chia would be really safe. But before that, they had to be careful. As for when the country would announce Matthew's news, it wasn't up to Su Yun to decide. Matthew was a news figure, and the country might not take any action to expose him for the sake of his safety. Chapter 1150. Randolph had caused a huge commotion this time around. After he was taken away by the CIA agents, the various leaders of the National Security Agency stepped forward. After all, the fierce battle earlier had seriously affected the security of Brooklyn. 4 of the CIA agents had lost their lives because of this, and the Gambino family members had suffered even more casualties. Over 10 of them had been killed on the spot, and over 10 of them were in the ICU of the hospital, on the verge of dying at any moment. There were even more who were seriously injured, and even the person with the lightest injuries had been shot. Other than Sidney, who had escaped under Randolph's orders, everyone else who had participated in this battle had been wiped out. They had been taken away and locked up by the government. After this battle, the Gambino family had suffered great losses, and even Randolph had been arrested. This was something that no one would dare to believe. The government had not had the chance to take action against Randolph. Now that they had captured him at the scene of the battle, they had an excuse to lock him up and prepare for sentencing him. However, Randolph was not afraid. He believed that the people he had conquered knew what was more important. "Mr. Randolph, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon." Douglas from the CIA was the person in charge of Kevin Matthews' case. He was the one who had arranged to go to Vancouver with Randolph to capture Kevin Matthew. Now that something had happened, he was also the one who had rushed to the scene immediately. "I still prefer people to call me Godfather." Randolph smiled at Douglas. With his status, he believed that these people would not dare to do anything to him. Douglas narrowed his eyes and walked up to Randolph. "Sure, Mr. Godfather. I can call you whatever you want, but I have a condition. You have to hand Gu Guolong over to me. As long as you hand Gu Guolong over to me, I can even do a handstand for you." Randolph snorted. It was true that the people from the CIA would do anything to get the information they wanted. They were the people with the thickest skin in the world. "However, Mr. Godfather, if you can't hand him over to me, you have to listen to whatever I call you." The moment Douglas said that, his expression changed, and his fist suddenly struck out toward Randolph's lower abdomen like a shooting star. Randolph fell to the ground along with his chair. As the godfather of the Gambino family, Randolph could not remember the last time he was beaten up. Douglas suddenly attacking him was definitely something that he had not expected. In the past, even the top leaders of the CIA had not dared to treat him this way. This punch was aimed at Randolph's dignity, not his body. Randolph didn't feel pain on his skin, but his heart. The godfather of the Mafia, the head of the 5 great families in New York, had actually been reduced to the point of being beaten by a person in charge of the CIA. What a great shame! What a great humiliation! Randolph, listen to me. You know what your people have done this time. The CIA sacrificed 4 agents because of this. We can convict you and bring you to justice. Douglas said angrily, "Also, let me tell you, the National Security Agency has collected enough evidence of your crimes, especially the evidence of you smuggling drugs from Latin America. Do you really think that none of your men would dare to betray you and become our informant?" Randolph stood up without anyone's help and continued to sit in his chair. He needed to calm down. Only by calming down could he think clearly. "Let me tell you, Randolph, the people who join your organization are doing it for money. They want to earn money more easily. As long as I give him a chance to earn more money, there will be plenty of people willing to betray you." Douglas spat. "Who do you think you are? The Godfather, right? Then let me tell you, you are useful, and you are respected by millions of people. You are useless, and I don't even have the time to despise you." Randolph sneered. He knew very well how the American government treated him. The sooner he got rid of them, the sooner he would have peace. But he had always been careful, and Douglas could not arrange for people to capture evidence of his crimes. This was because all the confidential information about his family was done by his own people. It was impossible for them to be bribed. "Douglas, you'll regret this for the rest of your life." Randolph said coldly, "If you don't have the ability to accuse me and sentence me to death, I will sentence your whole family to death. I mean what I say. Do you think you have the right to threaten me?" Douglas said, "I can tell you, Randolph, if you are willing to cooperate with the government, we can spare you the death penalty. If you don't blame me for not caring about our friendship." Randolph raised his head and laughed. "Do you think I'm your friend? Humph, you look down on us Mafia. Who do you think you are? You are just wearing the coat of the American government. Maybe you are not as clean as us. How dare you talk to me?" Douglas wanted to hit Randolph again, but he was stopped by the people beside him. He pointed at Randolph fiercely and said, "Randolph, Mr. Godfather, please think about it carefully. Is there someone around you who likes to get involved in things that he shouldn't be involved in? For example, you asked him to manage the loan shark business, but he likes to get involved in your drug smuggling business?" Randolph's face changed. Douglas's words reminded him that Wesley, who was in charge of the loan shark business, liked to get involved in the drug smuggling business. He even requested to go to Latin America with Ricky, who was in charge of the drug smuggling business. Randolph did not care about these at all because Wesley was also his confidant. It was because he trusted Wesley that he handed over the loan shark business to him. Wesley would never betray him. "Mr. Godfather, no one can escape from greed in this life. No matter how much you give a person, he will want more." Douglas said, "Maybe you think Wesley will not betray you. He doesn't care about 1 or 2 million USD. But what if it's 10 or 20 million USD? Maybe he will hesitate?" "No. Impossible." Randolph opened his eyes wide. 10 or 20 million USD was impossible. "Mr. Godfather, sometimes, greed is not the only way to get someone to work for me." Douglas said, 10 million USD might not be important to him. Also, the government will not give so much money. But there is something that is more important to him than 10 million USD. What do you mean? Randolph suddenly shouted. Douglas was stunned. He did not expect Randolph to be so arrogant. But it was okay. He could not be arrogant for long. When he collected enough evidence, he had the ability to sentence him to more than 100 years in prison. Mr. Godfather, there are some things that you might not understand. I have heard about you. You are infertile and don't have any children. Douglas said, so you don't understand the importance of children to a person. Randolph's face started to change. You don't understand, but it doesn't mean your subordinates don't understand. Their children's love for them might be more important than tens of millions of USD. Douglas smiled and said, All right, Mr. Godfather, I think I have said enough. You should really consider whether you want to work with us or continue to go against us. Chapter 1151. Randolph could not believe that Douglas, who had been polite to him not long ago and addressed him respectfully as Godfather, would change his attitude even faster than him. This was the intelligence agency. This was the real evil dog that the American government kept. In order to achieve their goals, they would do anything. In order to get what they wanted, they would do anything despicable. Douglas, we've known each other for a while. Aren't you afraid of retribution for playing such a dirty trick on me? Randolph was fearless. Since Douglas had already fallen out with him, what else did he have to worry about? Nothing mattered anymore. Randolph's trip to the CIA this time was not in vain. At least, he realized that Wesley's actions were strange. Regardless of whether Wesley was really secretly collecting evidence of the Gambino family's crimes, they were all in the same boat. He believed that even if Wesley really had such intentions, he only needed to talk to him face to face once, and he would be able to make Wesley understand the situation clearly. The only person who could give him a future, money, and status was him, Randolph. Not a dog of the CIA of the United States government. Godfather, you said that I'm playing dirty. Are you clean yourself? Douglas was furious when he thought of this. What did we say before? We said it clearly. I'll release Sydney and clear all his criminal records. You'll bring Gu Guolong back from Vancouver and hand him over to me. Didn't we say that? In his fury, Douglas slammed his palm on the table. And did you keep your promise? Randolph smiled but did not say anything. I kept my promise. I spent a lot of effort, time, and money to release Sydney from prison and clear all his criminal records. Douglas was furious when he thought of this. What about you? You brought Gu Guolong back to New York and hid him. You actually asked me for $1 billion. Fine. I'll give you $1 billion. But you also want the right to not interfere with the sale of marijuana in Brooklyn. Do you think that's possible? Randolph laughed coldly. Why not? If the government has enough desire, you'll give it to me even if I want more. But you can't give me anything now. Do you believe that I can shoot you to death now? Douglas was furious. Shoot me to death? If you could really do that, you wouldn't have brought me to this godforsaken place, Randolph said. Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Douglas raised his eyebrows. It's good that you know. Mr. Godfather, let's not beat around the bush. Where Gu Guolong is. Who are you to say that I'll know where Gu Guolong is? Randolph. Do you think I'd do anything to you if I didn't have enough evidence? Douglas said. I'm very cautious. You know that. If I'm not 100% sure, I won't go to your villa. I'm sure that Gu Guolong is hidden there. 100% sure. Randolph laughed heartily. If you're 100% sure, you would have brought Gu Guolong to this place. Why are you still talking to me? Douglas, I know how valuable I am to you right now. Without me, you'll never know where Gu Guolong is. Although Randolph didn't know where Gu Guolong would go, Douglas and the other members of the CIA and the National Security Agency didn't know that Randolph didn't know about this. They even thought that Randolph arranged it on purpose. After all, Randolph and Su Yun entered his villa together in a rather harmonious manner. Who is that young man? Douglas took out a gun from his waist and pointed it at Randolph's head. "If you are in cahoots with the Chinese, then you are committing treason. Treason will put our country in danger. Even if I shoot you now, it's fine." When Douglas was angry, the others tried to stop him. They were afraid that Douglas would really kill Randolph in his anger. Randolph raised his head and laughed out loud. "What do I do? What do you think you can do to me with this little threat?" "Douglas, I'll give you one more chance. Let me go now. Otherwise, I'll arrange for Gu Guolong to leave the country now." Douglas grabbed Randolph's collar and said, "Old fox, you bastard. I'm warning you. If Gu Guolong leaves the country, I'll take your life." "You can try if you want my life," Randolph said. "If I die, you won't live long either. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. The only person you can kill is me. The people I want to kill are your whole family. I won't lose anything. Douglas, if you still want to talk about cooperation with me, change your tone. Sit down and talk to me calmly." Douglas finally realized that no matter what happened, Randolph was not someone he could threaten. If he couldn't complete the mission, his future would be bleak. If he became enemies with the Gambino family, his whole family would have to emigrate. This required money and a higher position. Therefore, he had to solve this problem. "Godfather, I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. I was forced to do this." There was no one in the room where Randolph was detained. Only Douglas and Randolph were left. Douglas almost burst into tears as he complained to Randolph. "What chance can I give you? Douglas, you've already made it so clear that you can't do anything about it. You even asked my men to collect evidence of my crimes. Ha ha ha, now you want me to forgive you? I'm still being detained by you. How can I forgive you?" Randolph will not fall for this trick. These people from the US government can come up with all kinds of tricks to get what they want. "Godfather, as long as you are willing to help me, I swear I can help you with anything. I really can't give you the power to not be interfered with in Brooklyn, but I can promise you that I will try my best not to let anyone disturb you." Douglas said, "If there's a problem, I can help you ask the police for the person you're looking for. That's something I can do." Randolph shook his head. "You can say these nice words now. You can also deny it in the future. I don't trust you guys anymore." Douglas said seriously, "I can show you my sincerity. Godfather, no matter what request you have now, as long as it is within my power, I will definitely help you. What do you think? I only need Gu Guolong. I can let bygones be bygones. Godfather, I am really sincere." "That's good," Randolph said. "Since you are so sincere, arrange for me to meet Wesley." Douglas was stunned. The old fox was indeed an old fox. If he could arrange for the two of them to meet, he could be sure that Wesley was colluding with the government. If he could not do it, it obviously meant that he could not bribe Wesley at all. Randolph looked into Douglas's eyes and waited for his reply. "Okay." Douglas agreed immediately. "I have said that I will agree if I can. Since you want to meet him, I will arrange it as soon as possible." "You know what I mean. You can't tell him that I want to meet him," Randolph said calmly. He believed that Douglas should be clear about this. However, he was a scheming person. Therefore, he still made it clear and didn't give Douglas a chance to take advantage of him. Douglas nodded. "I know, I understand. But, Godfather, after I let you meet him, can you talk to me about Gu Guolong as well? I believe that you know the seriousness of treason. I will try my best to help you. I hope that you will cooperate with me." Chapter 1152. Su Yun and the others, who had quickly escaped from New York, had a smooth journey. They did not encounter any mafias, nor were they stopped by any police. Everything was smooth sailing. Su Yun kept saying that his good luck would continue, and Gu Guolong kept praying to God. Bai Xiaoye, on the other hand, felt that this was retribution for all the good deeds she had done on a daily basis. In any case, as long as the three of them did not leave the United States, they would not be able to calm down. It would take them at least 30 to 40 hours to reach Seattle. After Celine received the notice, she would definitely have sufficient time to arrange for someone to pick them up. After Su Yun memorized the address, he drove the entire way, not even daring to blink. In the end, Bai Xiaoye could not take it anymore. She suggested several times that she should drive. Only then did Su Yun pass the steering wheel to Bai Xiaoye. He was really lucky to have a younger sister to help him complete this mission. Otherwise, if he had really come alone, he would definitely be so busy that he would die from exhaustion. There would be no one to share his burden. For the past 2 days and 2 nights, other than refueling and buying fast food, they had never stopped the car. Celine was indeed very helpful. After Su Yun drove to the place where they had agreed to meet, she was already waiting for her personally. Celine, who was born in a Canadian mafia family, was very orderly. She immediately arranged for her subordinates to destroy the car they had driven back from New York. The United States special agents and mafias were very powerful. They would be able to find any clues, let alone a car like this. If they did not destroy it, it would definitely cause trouble. Although Celine was fearless in Vancouver, she knew very well how powerful the Gambino mafia family was. She also knew how powerful the United States special agents were. It was best not to provoke them. If this matter implicated the Dark Angel, Celine would definitely feel bad. Right now, she only wanted to use the fastest and quietest method to send all of them away. Gu Chia was like a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment in the Dark Angel. As for Gu Guolong, he was like a nuclear weapon. As for Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye, although Celine could not bear for the siblings to leave, considering that they had been able to rescue Gu Guolong from the Gambino family and the United States Secret Service, they must have been blacklisted by the United States. Therefore, it was better not to keep them around. On the way back to Vancouver, Gu Guolong could not help but ask about his daughter, and Celine gave him a brief report. Generally speaking, it was okay. At least Gu Chia was in a safe situation. It was just that she was emotionally unstable, especially when she heard that Su Yun came here to help her and went to the United States without any purpose. From Gu Chia's point of view, this was something that was completely impossible to accomplish. Although she was safe under Celine's care, she felt like she was under house arrest, so her emotions were unstable. It wasn't until Celine received a call from Su Yun and relayed the good news to her that her face regained its usual vigor. The excessive shock and surprise made her suspect that she was dreaming for the past 2 days. The journey from Seattle to Vancouver was not considered far. Under the guidance of the car arranged by Celine, they quickly left that country where they were treading on thin ice. When the car entered Canada, Su Yun was a little emotional. To be honest, he really did not expect this matter to go so smoothly. However, Su Yun also understood that this was not a place to stay for long. Although they had escaped, they had still offended the #1 mafia family in North America. If Randolph were to really go crazy, so what if they were in Canada? It was not as if he had not arranged for someone to come to Canada. Even if they had the support of the Dark Angel, it would be useless. Gu Chia was looking forward to it. Finally, her father and Su Yun returned safely. However, before she could even celebrate, she received an order to leave from Rodnan and Lavini. Mr. Su Yun, logically speaking, you are my Celine's savior. I can't ask you to leave. Rodnan Lavini also looked a little embarrassed. But old Master Gu is here, and I really can't afford to do that. As for why this happened, I have heard a little about it. It's really not something I can bear. Although the Dark Angel's development is not too great, it is still thriving. I really don't want it to be destroyed in my hands. Su Yun nodded. I understand. Mr. Rodnan Lavini, I have troubled you a lot. I really appreciate the help you and Miss Celine have given me. Thank you. You are Celine's savior, so it's my duty to do something for you. Rodnan Lavini's words were very direct. Indeed, he did all this only for Su Yun. It had nothing to do with the Great Circle, let alone for Gu Guolong's sake. The reason why Rode and Lavini spoke so straightforwardly was to let Gu Guolong hear it and let Gu Guolong remember his kindness as a little benefactor. After this incident, it would take at least a few years for the Great Circle to recover, so Rodnan Lavini did not need to be calculative with Gu Guolong. Mr. Rodnan Lavini, the Great Circle had many conflicts with your club in the past. Now that you are willing to let bygones be bygones and lend a helping hand, I am very grateful. Gu Guolong was also a sensible person, so he made things clear. I know that you are doing this for Su Yun's sake, but I will still remember this favor. Old Master Gu, you are too kind. Rodnan Lavini did not have a deep friendship with Gu Guolong, nor was he willing to. After all, Gu Guolong was now in dire straits, and he had offended the American government and the Gambino family at the same time. It was not a suitable time to be friends with him. People in society definitely had to consider their own interests when doing things. This was especially true for people like Rodnan Lavini. Gu Guolong understood what Rodnan Lavini meant and did not say anything else. He did not care about anything now, and the only thing he cared about was his daughter's safety. The Dark Angel had already ordered them to leave, so it was impossible for them to continue staying. Where else could they go? Mr. Su Yun, I am unable to repay your kindness to my daughter, Rodnan Lavini said. I know that you need to leave as soon as possible, so I have arranged for someone to apply for a flight route. My people will use my private jet to send you back to Huaxia. After a pause, Rodnan Lavini explained to Su Yun, Mr. Su Yun, I really have no intention of urging you to leave. I also really want to discuss some issues with a friend like Mr. Su Yun, but Mr. Rodnan Lavini, I am unable to repay your kindness. Su Yun cupped his fists. Words cannot express my gratitude for your kindness. You really know how to take advantage of others. If you call yourself a little brother in front of my dad, then what am I? Celine rolled her eyes at Su Yun. My dad arranged for a plane to send you back, but there is another condition. Everyone was stunned, but Su Yun quickly said, I agree to any condition. I will go with you. When we arrive at Huaxia, you will be responsible for arranging things for me and letting me have fun. Celine said, that's all, and nothing else. Xiaoyi, we are good friends. I know your brother has someone in his heart, so I won't force him. But I really like men from Huaxia. They are so manly. As for you, you will be responsible for introducing me to a handsome man from Huaxia, and I will have a vigorous relationship with him. Rodnan Lavini shook his head helplessly. His daughter was said to be unfaithful, but in fact, she really lacked love. She became like this after being hurt by a bastard. Although he had crippled the bastard's limbs and made him a cripple, it was still difficult to relieve the anger in his heart. Chapter 1153. Rodnan Lavini's private jet was really impressive. It was the Bombardier Aerospace's domestic Challenger 850 business jet. It was the same model as the Mountain and also had 17 seats. It cost more than 30 million USD, but the prints on the plane were different. The prints were the wings of the Dark Angel. People in Canada would know who the plane belonged to at a glance. Before the plane took off, Su Yun called Huaxia to explain the situation and asked Chong to go to Beijing to pick up the plane. He and Bai Xiaoye were not the only ones who were tired these days. Everyone was under a lot of pressure. This kind of mental exhaustion required a long period of recuperation. A day or two of rest and sleep would not help at all. Chong was naturally happy to run errands. When he heard that there were foreign friends, he had to give brother Yun face. The GL8 that Sister Shuang bought was obviously not good enough. Fortunately, Sister Yi was kind enough. After a casual call, someone sent over a Mercedes-Benz R400 for Chong to use. Yi Fala also said that if he felt that the car was okay, he could buy a public car. Ever since she was released from prison, she did not even have a mode of transportation. Su Yun could sleep peacefully on this flight. Although Bai Xiaoye was also extremely tired, she was too embarrassed to sleep when Celine asked her all kinds of questions. Gu Chia and Gu Guolong finally reunited. They did not have the chance to talk when they were at Celine's house. Now that they were on the plane, they naturally had endless things to talk about. Gu Chia's heart ached for her father, and Gu Guolong's heart ached for his daughter, who had experienced so many dangers. As they talked, the two of them burst into tears. It was inevitable that the people around them would feel sorry for them. Celine, on the other hand, was quite envious. She said that she had never been so close to her father since she was young. She would always quarrel with her father after less than 10 sentences. She really envied Gu Chia for being so close to her father. She was like a little cotton-padded jacket that made people feel warm all over. I have never seen my father since I was young. Bai Xiaoye was even more direct. Celine was stunned. Then what about Su Yun? Didn't you guys? He hasn't seen it either. When Bai Xiaoye talked about this father she had never met, her tone was filled with disdain and disdain. After he was born, his mother passed away, and he was left to be raised by our father's friend. The more Celine listened, the more confused she became. Bai Xiaoye continued, "Our father stayed with my mother, and then I was born. It should be that before I was born, the most unreliable lousy in the world disappeared and never returned. At least, I've never heard my master." Bai Xiaoye paused. "I've never heard my mother mention that I have such a father." Although Su Yun's eyes were closed, he couldn't help but smile when he heard that Bai Xiaoye finally admitted that she had a mother. Kinship was something that was hard to explain. Your relationship is so complicated. Celine did not understand. She shook her head and said, "But no matter what, your father loves you. I believe that this will not change, just like my father, no matter how fierce he is to me, no matter how much he scolds me. But in the end, he still loves me." Bai Xiaoye shook her head. "If you haven't even met your own father, you wouldn't think this way." Celine nodded as if she understood. Then, she shook her head. Perhaps she really didn't understand. Hua Xia people's understanding of kinship might be different from Westerners. Therefore, it was even more impossible for Celine to understand what Bai Xiaoye was thinking. The plane once again crossed the Pacific Ocean. Before Su Yun could fully recover from his fatigue, he had already arrived at Hua Xia. Returning to his country instantly gave him a sense of security. This sense of security was not something that the Dark Angel could give him. This was Hua Xia, the territory of the Hua Xia people. The moment Su Yun stepped onto this land, he felt confident. Even if the American government's special agents came to find trouble with him, he would make sure that they would not be able to return alive, let alone the Gambino family's mafia. Su Yun was so domineering. Even the local tyrants were not to be trifled with, let alone a dragon like him. As they were picking up a private jet, Chong applied for permission and was allowed to drive to the landing area to wait. When he saw Su Yun alight from the private jet, Chong's eyes lit up. Brother Yun was really famous. A private jet. What kind of person could afford to sit on such a thing? In Hua Xia, only big shots like Brother Long could afford to sit on such a plane. Chong was glad that he had gotten a Mercedes-Benz R400 business car to pick him up. If he had driven a Buick GL8, he would have lost face. It was not that the GL8 was not impressive, but it was not worthy of the aura of this private jet. In fact, this Mercedes-Benz R400 was not worthy of the aura of this private jet. If he had known earlier, he would have gotten a Ford E350 to raise the aura of this private jet. These thoughts were still too childish. What kind of car had he not been in before? What kind of car could he not afford? He could even afford a $30 million private jet, so a 30 million renminbi Bugatti was nothing. Therefore, a 700,000 renminbi Mercedes-Benz R400 and a 2 million renminbi Platinum Limited Edition E350 were no different in his eyes. Brother Yun, you are finally back. Chong went forward and found that there was no luggage to help with, so he rubbed his hands. Su Yun briefly introduced the few people he met for the first time. "Chong, how about this, you take old Gu and Miss Celine back to Shenzhen first. I will go back to find you after I deal with some personal matters. Su Yun, they are all my distinguished guests. You must let Sister Yi Zi take good care of them. I will leave everything to you." "Brother, you can rest assured," Chong said. Gu Guolong and Gu Chia did not have any objections. They needed some time to deal with the current situation and then make plans for the next step. Su Yun's arrangement was the best thing for them. Celine was a little unhappy. Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye were not here, and she and Gu Qia had nothing in common to talk about. You said you would accompany me to play. Why are you leaving now? Celine pouted unhappily. Although her Chinese was average, she could still speak a few sentences if she spoke slowly. She glanced at Bai Xiaoye and said, I'll stay with you guys too. Is that okay? Bai Xiaoye knew very well what Su Yun wanted to deal with. This was a private matter, and Celine was an outsider. She did not want Celine to see the ambiguous relationship between her and the person closest to her. She had not thought about how to face that person again. Should she call her mother, or continue to call her master? Celine, you should listen to my brother's arrangements, Bai Xiaoye said calmly. He has his reasons for making such arrangements. Celine could only sigh helplessly after hearing Bai Xiaoye's words. All right, let's go to Shenzhen then. Shenzhen was an internationally famous metropolis. She also wanted to see how prosperous this place, known as the economic center of Huaxia, was. Beauty, don't worry. Since Brother Yun has entrusted you to me, I promise I will bring you to play, eat, shop, and sleep. Chong said sweetly. Isn't it a joy to have friends coming from afar? I will take care of your basic necessities, food, shelter, and transportation. I was brought up by Brother Yun. How can you not be assured? Celine felt that it made sense. All right, I want to see what you can do with me in Shenzhen. With that, Celine opened the door to the front passenger seat and sat down. She did not have the airs of a young lady at all. Chapter 1154. After watching Chong drive away, Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye walked out of the airport unhurriedly. Both of them were waiting for the other to speak first. When they arrived at the parking lot, Su Yun's Qian was already covered in a layer of dust. Sigh, the air in Beijing is too smoggy. No matter what time it is, the car has only been parked outside for a few days, and it's already so dirty. This means that there's definitely something wrong with the air. After getting into the car, Su Yun was the first to speak. What are you going to do? I don't know. Bai Xiaoye answered without hesitation. It wasn't because she didn't think about anything. Instead, it was because she thought too much that she gave such an answer. She really didn't know how to face it. Reality can't be changed. You have to learn to accept it. Su Yun, let's not talk about whether she's really your biological mother. Even if she's not your biological mother, as your master, she has suffered for so many years and fed you with such tea and urine. What did you say? Bai Xiaoye glared at Su Yun. How can he still be in the mood to joke with me at a time like this? Su Yun grinned and scratched his head. Pull it up, not feed it up. After a pause, he continued, After all, she raised you. You're so beautiful. Just based on this point, you shouldn't be so calculative. Even if someone is calculative, it should be me. What do you think? What's there to be calculative about? She didn't lie to you. Bai Xiaoye whispered, She lied to me for so many years. Su Yun shrugged. She didn't lie to me, but if it wasn't for her, my unreliable father might not have left me. Of course, you wouldn't be who you are today. Bai Xiaoye opened her mouth in surprise. That's right, even if someone wanted to be calculative, it should be Su Yun. If it was her, she would definitely bear a grudge if she knew that such a woman snatched her father away when she was just born. After a long silence, Bai Xiaoye asked again, You must hate her, right? How should I put it? Su Yun looked up at the sunroof of the car and said faintly, If I had known about this 3 to 5 years ago, I might not have accepted it. However, once a person experiences many things will no longer be so important to them. You really don't hate her now? Bai Xiaoye probed. Su Yun shook his head without hesitation. I don't hate you. If it wasn't for her, I would be all alone right now. I wouldn't even have a family. Because of her, at least I have a sister like you. It's pretty good. There's nothing to hate. Some things may not be as simple as we think. None of us can understand what our father was thinking back then. Bai Xiaoye was surprised that Su Yun, who had been abandoned at birth, could be so open-minded. Everyone has their own reasons for doing things, Su Yun said. Matters of the heart are really hard to say. Su Yun had experienced many things, and he had considered many matters of the heart. Whether it was Ruan Qingxuang, Zhuo Meiyan, Yu Meiren, or Qin Wan his feelings for each of them were very subtle. However, these subtle feelings were definitely not unfaithful. They were sincere. However, who would believe him if he said it out loud? The era of men having multiple wives and concubines was over. In this era, this was considered a promiscuous private life, and he was considered a womanizer. Luck in love and disaster in love were separated by a single thought. Su Yun would definitely control what he could, but there were some things that he couldn't control. He and Yu Meiren grew up together, and their first time happened under such circumstances. No one would have expected it. His feelings for Ruan Qingxuang were real. He liked her kindness and innocence, which were rare in this era. To Zhuo Meiyan owed him her life, but he owed Zhuo Meiyan even more. Zhuo Meiyan had taken on too much for him. His feelings for her were subtle and uncontrollable. Everything couldn't be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. Su Yun let out a long sigh of relief. He suddenly felt that he forgave his unreliable father. Perhaps it was his inner world's way of absolving himself. Perhaps the one who wanted to be forgiven was himself. As the saying goes, like father, like son. This was called dragons beget dragons, phoenixes beget phoenixes, and the son of a mouse can dig holes. Su Yun believed that his father must be a fierce dragon too. But I'm really not ready to go back. What should I do? Bai Xiaoye said. I really don't know how to face her. Indeed. She's your biological mother. It'll be harder for you to face her. Unlike me, she's just my stepmother. I don't care. Su Yun smiled. If you need to adjust, I'll wait with you. I believe you won't need too long to adjust your mentality. Maybe you'll want to face her tomorrow after sleeping for a night. Bai Xiaoye nodded. I hope so. Where are we going to stay today? We're going to Ma San-er's place. Su Yun answered neatly. Can't you be more generous and stay in a hotel? Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. Is this guy really my biological brother? Why is he so stingy with me? I'm tight on money. Su Yun smiled embarrassedly. Bai Xiaoye was speechless. Sister Shilin already saved money for you, and you still have the nerve to tell me that you don't have money? I really have to hand it to you. It's true that I saved money, right? But if I spend money in a hotel, it'll be the same as not saving anything, Su Yun said. Also, when you go back tomorrow, you'll definitely drag me along, right? I can't go empty-handed, right? I didn't know before, but now that I know she's my stepmother, I should at least give her 2 boxes of donkey hide gelatin as a greeting gift, right? How much would that cost? Why do I only have you as my brother? Bai Xiaoye had never been troubled by spending money since she was young. Now that she had to calculate how to spend money, she was completely not used to it. Su Yun promised, when I get the hotel's bonus, I'll definitely give you a big red packet. Then, you can buy whatever you want. How about it? Okay, you said it. Don't go back on your words. Bai Xiaoye snorted. She would go to Ma San-er's place. Anyway, she couldn't sleep. She still had to think about how to face her biological mother. Ma San-er was having a good time in the shop. He was lucky today and brought back a girl from the bar next to the workers' gymnasium. These 2 uninvited guests directly spoiled his plans. Ma San-er sent the unhappy girl away with a sullen face. Then, he turned around and got angry at Su Yun. Can't you see something? You know I have someone in my room, but you still want to sleep here. Are you trying to make life difficult for me? It's just a black fungus. There's nothing to miss, Su Yun said. I really have nowhere else to go. I can only bring my sister here. Oh, when did you have a brother and sister? Ma San-er was stunned. Su Yun said, we're related by blood. What do you mean? Ma San'er was confused. Bai Xiaoye pointed at Su Yun and then at herself. The two of us are blood-related siblings. Do you understand? Pooh. Ma San'er almost choked on his own saliva. Are you kidding me? You're biological siblings? Is it fun to lie to me? No matter what, I'm the famous all-knowing man in Zhonghu. How come I don't know about this? There are many things you don't know. Su Yun waved his hand and said, Go make a pot of tea. I'll talk to you slowly. Chapter 1155. After listening to Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye's narration, Ma San'er's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Damn! Ma San'er's jaw dropped to the ground. He looked at Su Yun as if he was looking at an alien. Zhua Langyue is your stepmother. The head of the three kings. Empress Zhua Langyue is your stepmother? Are you two messing with me? Bai Xiaoye put down the teacup in her hand. Is there a need to tease you? We have nothing better to do, so we made up such a story to tease you. Ma San'er couldn't digest such an important piece of news. He wasn't amazed by this. He was amazed by how awesome Su Yun's father was. Even Empress Zhua Langyue fell in love with him. No wonder Su Yun was so ferocious and had endless luck with women. Like father, like son. Even his luck with women was inherited. Ma San'er was vexed. No wonder he still didn't have a girlfriend. He probably inherited it from his father, who was single for 40 years before getting married. Oh my God! How am I going to live in the future? God isn't joking with me, right? This thing can't be inherited. Brother Yun, if there's anything I didn't do well in the past, please forgive me. Ma San'er said, Oh my God! I don't know what to say. This news is too explosive, too exciting, too unbelievable. Don't say it as if you can do whatever you want to me just because I don't have a stepmother. Su Yun said, Help the two of us analyze what Xiao Yi should say when she meets her mother. Ma San'er said, Of course, tell her that nothing happened between the two of you. Otherwise, she will be worried to death. What can happen between the two of us? Not to mention that we already know that we are siblings. Even if we didn't know, nothing can happen. Su Yun said, Stop talking nonsense. Come up with some serious ideas. Ma San'er's head was shaking like a rattledrum. I only know that you kidnapped the Empress's daughter to America. Even if she's your stepmother, I reckon she won't let you off easily. You're on your own now. I can't help you with this. If it's anything else, you can tell me whatever you want. But I really can't help you with this. Why can't you help us? Bai Xiaoye was very disappointed. Don't you know what kind of person your mother is? She can't even be bothered to pinch a small ant like me in front of her. She can destroy me with a single breath. How can I give advice to the boy who kidnapped her daughter to play? If there's any accident and they investigate, I'll die for nothing. Ma San'er said, Besides, even if I'm not afraid of death, this is your family's business. What can an outsider like me do? His words were reasonable. Brother Yun, the only help I can give you is to provide 2 beds. Ma San'er helplessly shrugged his shoulders. Forget it, I can't be bothered to think too much about it. Bai Xiaoye decided to go all out. At most, I'll just go and see her. I didn't do anything wrong to her, nor did I lie to her. She can't blame me for this. What's there for me to be afraid of? No matter what, she's still your mother. You should at least give her some face, right? Su Yun said, No matter what, she's still a person of status. He had to give face to Zhua Langyue. This woman was the only clue that Su Yun had about his unreliable father in his lifetime. Even if Bai Xiaoye fell out with her mother, Su Yun wouldn't fall out with her stepmother. It had been more than 20 years, and there was no need to bring up old scores. Su Yun wasn't afraid of her because she was Zhua Langyue. He just wanted to know the last bit of information about his unreliable father from her. This might not be important to Su Yun anymore. However, if that unreliable old thing was still alive, Su Yun would have to go and meet him no matter what. His body, hair, and skin were passed down to his parents. Even if his father was a good-for-nothing, a bastard, and had never raised or educated him, Su Yun was still his child. Old Su could be unrighteous, unreliable, and an irresponsible father, but Su Yun did not want to be an irresponsible son. If old Su was still alive, even if he met him and asked him, "Why did you give birth to him?" that would be fine. And all of this was obtained from Zhua Lingyue's mouth. "I know. I won't embarrass her too much," Bai Xiaoye said. "I'm tired. I'm going upstairs to rest." "Go ahead." Su Yun waved his hand. He turned around and pulled Ma San-er to the side. "It's your turn to think of something for me. Since I already know she's my stepmother, if I don't bring something when we meet again, it will be rude of me. What gift do you think I should bring?" Ma San-er touched his chin. Su Yun's words were reasonable. After all, he was a junior. It didn't matter if he didn't know about it before, but now that he knew, it wouldn't be good if he didn't show some manners. "No matter what, you should bring something presentable." Su Yun touched his chin. "Brain platinum? Golden wine? Donkey hide gelatin? Deep sea cucumber? How much can these lousy things be worth?" "They are sold all over the supermarket," Ma San-er said with disdain. "If you give these things to me, I might be quite happy. But the person you want to give them to is the rumored #1 person in Huaxia's underground world. Won't you be embarrassing yourself?" Su Yun was worried about this. The money he had on him was only enough to buy these things. Ma San-er touched his chin. "No matter how powerful the Empress is, she's still a woman. Women like rare treasures like Thai sapphires, Sri Lankan emeralds, Burmese jade, African tanzanite, Brazilian crystal, and so on. You can just make a crown out of them and give it to her. It will symbolize her supreme status as the Empress, and I guarantee that she will appreciate you very much. Can't you fart with some flavor? Which one of these things can I get? Give me the money to buy it." Su Yun said, "You still want to make a crown?" "I don't even have the materials. Even if I have the materials, it will take at least a month to make a crown. Bai Xiaoye is going tomorrow. How can I delay her meeting her mother for a month? It wasn't a big deal at first, but now it's a big deal." "Then I have no choice," Ma San-er said. Su Yun sized up Ma San-er and said, "You know that my stepmother likes to collect things. She asked Bai Xiaoye to donate all of her antiques to the National Museum in my name. Do you have anything from before? I can take it on credit and return it to you when I have the money." "On credit? Can you return it?" Ma San-er said. "She even dared to donate the jade dress. Do you think she'll like anything in my shop? If there is, you can even give my shop to her. I'm just afraid that she won't like it." "Are you completely useless?" Su Yun sighed helplessly. Ma San-er rolled his eyes at Su Yun. "Is this the attitude you use when you're begging me to do something? How can you say that?" "Forget it, I think you should stop thinking about it. It's useless to think too much. Don't think too much about it. She won't like anything you give her. Why don't you just give her 2 boxes of donkey hide gelatin to nourish her skin?" That was all he could do. Honestly speaking, Zhua Lingyue's skin was still like that of an 18 or 19-year-old girl. She probably didn't even need to nourish her skin. She might even use something better. The donkey hide gelatin sold in the supermarket definitely had some additives. She probably wouldn't like it either. Chapter 1156. Guagua, who was having fun on Qingdao, had a headache when she heard the word school. However, when school was about to start, she couldn't lift her mood at all. Qingdao was fun, and RuanQingshuang and Chou Yun were always by her side. Feng Ye, whom Lin Gu had found for her, was also very fond of her. Zhua Meiyan and Tang Jiu would also visit her with various gifts from time to time. However, Guagua still felt that something was missing. She lacked fatherly love. Lin Gu had come to accompany Feng Ye. Why hadn't Su Yun come to accompany her mother? Guagua could understand that Qin Weiner was busy with work every day, but she really couldn't understand what Su's father was busy with. Those things were outsiders to Guagua. She was waiting anxiously. She was waiting for Su Yuning to show up in Qingdao and spend the last few days with her happily before the semester started. Children's thoughts naturally couldn't be hidden from the eyes of adults. As Guagua became more and more uneasy and less energetic, Ruan Qingxuang had no choice but to call Su Yun. She could understand that Su Yun must be busy with something he had to do. He felt very sorry for disturbing her. "Sister Shuang, how have you been recently?" Su Yun was quite happy to receive Ruan Qingxuang's call. "Guagua is obedient, right? Everyone's doing well, right? Everyone is fine." Ruan Qingxuang said carefully, "I'm not bothering you by calling you now, am I? I heard from Lin Ge that you might be doing something abroad." "I'm back." Su Yun smiled. "When I'm done with the things at hand, I'll go to Qingdao to find you. By the way, I'll introduce you to my sister." Ruan Qingxuang said, "Oh." Her voice suddenly rose several times. "Oh. My biological sister," Su Yun said with certainty. Ruan Qingxuang wondered if there was something wrong with her ears. How could Su Yun suddenly have a sister? This was too sudden, right? "She has a little conflict with my stepmother. Once I'm done with it, I'll bring her to see you." "Su Yun, Sister Shuang, thank you for your hard work. My stepmother might be the only clue to my father's whereabouts. I still want to build a good relationship with her and have a good chat with her." Their relationship was so complicated. Ruan Qingxuang was confused as she listened. However, she still understood what Su Yun meant when he addressed her as "Little Mom." Su Yun and his biological sister were not born from the same mother. "It's okay. You take care of your business. We don't have anything to do here," Ruan Qingxuang said. "Sister Shuang, I know your character. You've always been afraid of disturbing me, so you don't take the initiative to call me. Su Yun, if you call, there must be something. It's Guagua. School is about to start. If you have time, come over and accompany her for a day. You're always not there, so she will always feel regretful." Ruan Qingxuang didn't hide it anymore. She believed that Su Yun understood the urgency of the matter. If he had time, he would definitely come. Su Yun smiled slightly. "I understand. Give me 2 days. I'll go over as soon as I'm done with my business. I also promised Guagua." "Don't worry. Take care of your business first." Ruan Qingxuang said, "We'll wait for you in Qingdao." During this time, the operation of the film and television plaza has gradually gotten on the right track. You can come just in time to give some guidance. "I'm going to learn. If it weren't for you and Zhua Meiyan helping me, I would have destroyed my godfather's foundation long ago." Su Yun wasn't exaggerating. If it weren't for Zhua Meiyan, Sky Entertainment would have fallen long ago. If it weren't for Ruan Qingxuang standing up at the critical moment, the film and television plaza wouldn't have operated so smoothly. After all, Zhua Meiyan's energy was limited. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that Sky Entertainment wasn't destroyed by Su Yun and became the largest film and television group in Huaxia. It was all thanks to them. Ruan Qingxuang didn't continue to listen to Su Yun's nonsense. "Then we'll wait for you in Qingdao." After hanging up Ruan Qingxuang's call, Su Yun was in a good mood. Whether the person he was going to meet tomorrow was the most powerful person in Huaxia or not, he wasn't afraid. He didn't believe that a woman who could give birth to his father's child would be willing to destroy his father's son. Bai Xiaoye was a girl. It didn't matter if she didn't take the surname of Old Su. If Old Su wanted to have a successor in the future, it would depend on Su Yun. Just based on this point, Zhuo Langyue probably wouldn't be willing to lay her hands on Su Yun. This was the so-called, even if Zhuo Langyue wasn't willing to kill Su Yun, his sister wouldn't be willing. The power of blood relations was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Ma Sanner brought breakfast and specially went to a tea shop in Taiwan to buy honeyed roast pork buns. The roast pork buns were as big as garlic, and 3 of them cost 24 yuan. Normally, Ma San'er wouldn't be willing to eat them, so he bought 7 steamers in one go. That was a total of 21 buns. Su Yun, who lived in his shop, didn't care. His brother wouldn't let his stepmother destroy him just because he didn't take good care of him. But that person was different. She was Zhua Lengyue's daughter. Ma San'er didn't know about it before, but now that he knew, he had to take good care of her. Su Yun thought that Bai Xiaoye had enough time to think things through, but even after breakfast, Bai Xiaoye was still hesitant and unable to make up her mind. Of the 7 steamers of roast pork buns, Bai Xiaoye only ate 1 steamer. Su Yun didn't leave a single one. Ma San'er really wanted to strangle him. Didn't he know that he didn't eat either? This thing is delicious, Su Yun said. There's a hint of sweetness in the fragrance. Not bad. 8 yuan for one. Ma San'er said angrily. Seeing that Bai Xiaoye didn't have any intention of leaving, Su Yun decided to go to the Dragon Brigade first and report his matter to Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi. Although this was his personal matter, the Dragon Brigade had given him an identity, so he had to report this matter to the organization. Even if he wasn't bound by the complicated rules of the army, Su Yun still had to abide by the most basic rules. I'll go back to the army first. You can think about it carefully, Su Yun said. No matter what, she's your mother. Don't worry. It won't be too late to go after you think it through. Bai Xiaoye nodded. She still couldn't muster up the courage. She still needed some time. Just as Su Yun was about to leave, Ma San'er pulled him back. Brother, where are you going? Are you leaving now? You're going to leave her here alone? I can't eat you, Bai Xiaoye said helplessly. You look at me like a mouse that saw a cat. Ma San'er also felt wronged. He sobbed bitterly and said, Big sister, go away. Who's your big sister? Bai Xiaoye glared at him. Big sister, okay? I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of your mother. Ma San'er said, I don't care. I'm just afraid. If your mother comes back right after Brother Yun leaves, it'll be hard to say who kidnapped you. Big sister, I'm just a small ant. Can you give me a way out? Look at how useless you are. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. Su Yun patted Ma San'er's shoulder. This won't implicate you. You just have to take good care of her. Don't bring any random woman back to date. Ma San'er knew that he couldn't avoid this, so he could only obey obediently. Chapter 1157. When Su Yun returned to the Dragon Brigade, Wan Guangxiao was already waiting for him in Wang Yi's office. In addition to the 2 of them, there was also Du Wen, who had been working as a secretary for Wang Yi since he was injured. When Du Wen saw Su Yun, he gave him a thumbs up in admiration. You're good, kid. You dare to do anything. Aren't you afraid that the chief and your teacher will directly disable you so that you don't cause trouble for them? Brother Du, my teacher has taught me to have a sense of responsibility since I was young. I have to take responsibility for the trouble I caused. Su Yun smiled. Don't you think so? Don't talk nonsense. Wang Yi pointed at the chair next to him. Sit down and tell the chief what happened. Wan Guangxiao put down the cup in his hand. Su Yun, I know that you brought Matthew back to Huaxia under the eyes of the Americans. Some people will definitely be implicated. But the people who brought you back are from a gang in Canada. They are involved in the arms smuggling business. Even if they get into trouble because of this, then... Chief, you may think that they deserve it, but I don't think so. Without their help, I don't know if Matthew can come back to serve the country. I don't even know if I can survive until now. Su Yun, although that ship is an arms smuggling ship, they saved me. Now that everyone on the ship is dead, if I still do nothing, I'm really not a good person. Wang Yi motioned for Du Wen to pour a cup of water for Su Yun. Du Wen immediately brought the cup to Su Yun. Thank you, Su Yun said politely. Drink some water and speak slowly. Du Wen said, In the future, if there's anything, report it to the chief more. After all, the chief is experienced and can give you critical advice. You don't have to, Do-won. Ever since your leg was injured, your mouth has really improved. Wang Guangxiao smiled. Do-won was a talent, but it was a pity that he would never be able to stand on the battlefield again due to his injuries. Do-won smiled and scratched his head. When God closes a window for me, he will definitely open another door for me. Su-yun finished the water in the cup in one gulp. It's not that I didn't want to report it to the chief. When I first came into contact with the munitions ships, the organization hadn't approved my return yet. I don't have a place to say it, even if I wanted to. Then I'll give you a chance now. Tell us all the things you haven't told us, mainly this time. Wang Yi was still quite serious. Su-yun organized his words and began to report from the beginning to the end. Do-won kept handing Su-yun cups of water, which made Su-yun run to the toilet twice. The detailed report continued until lunch. During lunch, the two leaders didn't idle around. They listened to Su-yun the whole time. So much so that the group of brothers in the Dragon Fury team thought that something big had happened again. Chen Feng began to make wild guesses. He said that their boss might have done something shocking again and might be fired again. Han Zhan directly slapped Chen Feng's head. Can't you hope for something better? It wasn't until 3 o'clock in the afternoon that Su-yun explained the cause and effect of the incident in detail. Wang Guangxiao and Wang Yi's jaws almost dropped. The fate between Su-yun and Matthew was really incredible. Matthew was actually a friend of Su-yun's adopted son in Shenzhen. It sounded really amazing. After digesting all of this, Wang Guangxiao finally said, "In that case, you've easily achieved your goal on this trip to New York." It was so easy that even I can't believe it. Su-yun, it's good to make more friends when you're outside. If it wasn't for Rode and Lavini's help, I'm afraid it wouldn't have been so smooth. It's not as simple as you think. Wang Guangxiao frowned. By bringing Gu Gualong back, you've cut off the only clue the Americans have to find Matthew's whereabouts. And the godfather of the Gambino family, Randolph, isn't a fool. The Americans don't know that you've also gone to look for them to get him back. Therefore, he can rely on this bit of government apprehension and be released unscathed. Su-yun nodded. I've thought about this as well. But even if he's released, we've already left New York and America. What can he do to me? Don't worry, he won't look for trouble with the Dark Angels. The people Rode and Lavini arranged for are very careful. They won't leave behind any traces. Perhaps the Dark Angels won't be implicated. Even if they are, I can't let you participate in the fight between the two major underground organizations in North America. This isn't something you should be interfering in. Wang Guangxiao said, Su-yun, do you know why the Gambino family, which had been in decline, was able to rise to prominence again? Su-yun was stunned. He knew what Wang Guangxiao was trying to say. It's because the Gambino family has Randolph. Wang Guangxiao continued, Randolph's means are well known in the world for being despicable and vicious. No matter who it is, as long as they offend him or take advantage of the Gambino family, he'll make sure that they don't even have the chance to regret it. It's because of his despicableness and viciousness that he doesn't show any mercy. He'll definitely not let off anyone who has offended him. Can he still look for trouble with me now? Su-yun asked. Wang Guangxiao nodded. He'll probably hunt you down to the ends of the earth and won't let you off. F***ck. Is his zodiac sign a tortoise? He won't let go once he bites? Su-yun frowned. No matter who it was, no one would be able to remain indifferent. The ones who had their eyes on him were not just some hooligans on the streets but the biggest mafia family in New York. Wang Guangxiao snorted. A tortoise will let go when he hears a donkey's braying. Randolph will probably not let go even if he hears a dragon's roar. That means I'll be in trouble soon? Su-yun asked. I'm afraid it'll be soon. Wang Guangxiao said, Randolph is very capable. The US government probably won't even be able to lock him up for 24 hours before they release him. Once he's released, the only thing he'll want to do is look for you. He'll be able to take revenge and find Gu Guolong through you. Then, he'll be able to get $1 billion or so from the US government. Do you think Randolph will let go of something that can give him both benefits and revenge? Su Yun shook his head like a rattledrum. No. Randolph was a vengeful person. Even an open-minded person would not be able to resist the temptation of benefits. Su Yun finally understood that he could not rely on luck. Randolph would definitely find trouble with him. Randolph knew that Su Yun was a martial arts expert. That's why he would not let him go even if he had to hire a martial arts expert to help him. Su Yun smiled bitterly. He felt a sense of crisis after hearing Wan Guangxiao's words. Then I'll stay in Huaxia and see what Randolph can do to provoke me in our country. Su Yun was confident. Don't you think so? Wan Guangxiao took a deep breath and said, No one will wipe your ass for you when you're in trouble. You'll have to figure it out yourself. Chief, you're too mean. Su Yun grinned. He did not want to ask Wan Guangxiao for help. Suddenly, Su Yun changed the topic. Chief, you and Zhualeng. We're just friends. We're not that close. Wan Guangxiao seemed to be prepared for Su Yun's question. He answered without hesitation. Su Yun waved his hand. Forget it, it was better not to ask. If Wan Guangxiao wanted to tell him what he knew, he would have told him all these years. Although Su Yun didn't say it out loud, he knew in his heart that there were some things that they were aware of while he was the only one who was kept in the dark. How could Wan Guangxiao not notice that Su Yun was not only getting more and more curious, but also wanted to ask him several times? For example, just now, although Su Yun asked him about his relationship with Zhualeng Yue, he actually wanted to indirectly ask about his father. If Wan Guangxiao said that he was very familiar with Zhualeng Yue, Su Yun would definitely ask him if he knew about Zhualeng Yue and his father. As long as Su Yun asked, Wan Guangxiao wouldn't be able to answer. Sigh, let's try to avoid this topic in the future. Wan Guangxiao helplessly shook his head and said, Old Wang, you're one of the closest people to this stinking brat. If he wants to do something stupid, he will definitely tell you. At that time, you have to control him for me. Wang Yi nodded with a frown. He was very clear about this brat's temperament. He was afraid that it wouldn't be easy to control him. He already knows that Zhualeng Yue and his father have a child. He will definitely ask Zhualeng Yue about it. We can't control him at all. Wan Guangxiao nodded. We can't control him. Not only can we not control Su Yun, but we also can't control Zhualeng Yue. However, I feel that it won't be easy for Su Yun to ask Zhualeng Yue this question. Moreover, even if he asks, Zhualeng Yue probably won't answer him. You mean, Zhualeng Yue will escape? Wang Yi was startled. Of course. Wan Guangxiao said, Zhualeng Yue will definitely escape from this topic. I'm afraid that she is the one who doesn't want to talk about that man the most. After all, she still has to face her daughter. Because of that man, she deceived her only daughter. If you were Zhualeng Yue, would you be willing to talk about that man? Wang Yi stroked the stubble on his chin. This might not necessarily be the case. However, he didn't say this because Wan Guangxiao was a rational person. Therefore, he must have his reasons for thinking about this problem. However, no matter how much they said, these were all their speculations. As for what would happen, they could only resign themselves to fate. Perhaps Zhualeng Yue would really tell him everything. Or perhaps, Su Yun wouldn't be able to ask Zhualeng Yue after meeting her. These were all things for the future. No matter how much they worried, there was no meaning to it. Forget it, forget it. It's getting late. I should go back. My wife is still waiting for me to have dinner at home. Wan Guangxiao stood up and said, You bachelors are still the best. You can eat your fill and the whole family won't be hungry. Du Wen said sourly, Chief, can you not show off your affection in front of us bachelors? Alas, who can understand the hearts of bachelors like us? By the way, Du Wen, what's the matter with you? Wan Guangxiao suddenly thought of a question. Your Aunt Wan told me that she wants to introduce a girl to you. When I asked you last time, you said that you weren't ready for it. I was so busy during this period that I forgot about it. Are you going to meet her or not? When Du Wen heard this, he was embarrassed. It was all his fault for mentioning it. Wan Guangxiao shook his head discontentedly. Don't learn from Wang Yi. He's a stubborn old man. No matter what, he doesn't want a wife. Now he's regretting it in his heart. Why are you talking about me? I'm ready to sacrifice my life for the country. Didn't I tell you that my wife is from the army? Wang Yi said. However, he didn't want Du Wen to be like this. Wen, you shouldn't be like this. You're doing a civilian job now. No matter what happens, you don't have to go to the battlefield. You should get a wife, have a kid, and let me train him. I'm sure I can train a tough man like you. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that Du Wen was a tough man. In order to protect his teammates, this guy was injured on the battlefield. At the last moment, his leg was blown off from the knee. However, he could still clamp the broken leg with his arm and crawl back to gather with the others. Wang Yi didn't want to mention this matter. Whenever he mentioned it, he would feel pain in his heart. If Du Wen hadn't been injured so badly back then, who knows what would have happened to him now? None of the warriors from the Dragon Fury team were cowards. Du Wen smiled awkwardly. Chief, I know you mean well. However, you all know my situation. My leg, hee, which girl would like me? The ratio of men to women is very low now. It's already good enough for a normal person to find a wife. I'm just a cripple. Whoever dares to call you a cripple, I'll be the first to cripple him. Wan Guangxiao was anxious. It was because of this crippled Du Wen that the mission could turn around at the most crucial moment. If it wasn't for Du Wen, the Dragon Brigade might have lost a lot of elite warriors. Who dared to call him a cripple? If anyone dared to say that, Wan Guangxiao would really cripple him. Wang Yi also said very seriously, Wan, let me tell you this. If she doesn't like your girl because of your injuries, then she's not worthy of you. If she doesn't care about your injuries, then she's definitely a girl that you'll cherish for the rest of your life. Tiske, even an old bachelor knows about love? Ha ha ha. Wan Guangxiao joked. Then, he turned to Du Wen again and said, I'll make the decision for you. Let's meet tomorrow afternoon. I'll go back and arrange a place with the girl. You have to go tomorrow afternoon. I have a lot of things to do tomorrow. Du Wen panicked. It wasn't that he didn't want to go, but he couldn't muster up the courage. Chapter 1159. When Su Yun returned to Pan Garden, Bai Xiaoye had already made up her mind. She would go back the next morning. She had to face Zhuo Lengyue. Even if one of them needed to escape, it shouldn't be her. Ma San'er didn't look happy at all when he heard that Bai Xiaoye was leaving the next day. He would have to spend the night in fear again. Although it was said that one wouldn't be afraid of ghosts knocking on their door if they didn't do anything wrong, Ma San'er didn't think so. He believed that when one was unlucky, even cold water would get stuck in one's teeth. Bai Xiaoye was a ticking time bomb if she stayed with him. They had already been back for a day and a night. Ma San'er muttered in his heart. If Zhuo Lengyue wanted to find them, she should have gotten the news by now, right? Could it be that she had to wait until the night was dark? Ma San'er shuddered at the thought of this. If it wasn't for the fact that he was being targeted by Zhuo Lengyue's people, Ma San'er would rather spend 2,000 yuan to stay outside. He might even be able to get some free sex through WeChat. That night, Ma San'er wasn't the only one who didn't sleep well. Bai Xiaoye didn't sleep well either. Only the simple-minded Su Yun slept soundly. Sleep was the most effective way to recover spiritual power and physical strength. Those who had insomnia definitely hadn't been sleepy before. If the pain of being beaten and the hunger was unbearable, then the feeling of being trapped was definitely the feeling of not being able to live or die. It was not that Su Yun had not experienced not being able to sleep for months. That year, when he was in Tibet, he caught a small group of people who caused trouble and spread rumors, and even try to harm the safety of the people. He really did not sleep for a month. He followed the clues all the way from the north to the south of Zhongzong. Originally, it was a highland area. Coupled with the fact that he didn't sleep, Su Yun almost couldn't hold on. In the end, after the group of bastards were caught, they all wanted to cry but had no tears. The 5 of them had been driving in shifts, circling around non-stop. They didn't even dare to stop for a proper meal. They even took turns sleeping in the car, but they were still held down by Su Yun. Su Yun, who was well aware of the value of sleep, did not dare to easily waste this luxurious opportunity to lose sleep. Bai Xiaoye, who was well prepared, got up early in the morning under the guidance of Su Yun. After eating something, they left Panjiazwang Garden. Ma Sander was so happy that his face bloomed. He waved his small hands and stood at the entrance of the restaurant to see them off. Now that the time bomb was finally gone, Ma Sander could once again live a leisurely life. He was really afraid of Su Yun now. It was like this every time. As long as Su Yun appeared, nothing good would come out of it. "Brother Yun, I'm begging you. Don't ever appear in my shop again," Ma Sander muttered to himself. Su Yun didn't know if it was a coincidence or if he really heard it. Anyway, he rolled down the car window and said to Ma Sander, "I will definitely come back. F***CK. Why are you stealing Grey Wolf's lines?" Ma Sander almost cried. "I'll be waiting for you at any time." The car sped toward Tianjin. Bai Xiaoye was nervous and wanted to regret it several times. Unfortunately, the steering wheel was not in her hands. "Why don't we wait for another day? I know a fun and delicious place in Tianjin. I can take you there for a day and treat you to good food. It won't be too late for us to go tomorrow." Bai Xiaoye finally couldn't hold back and asked tentatively. Su Yun rolled his eyes at her. "Do you have money? Your pockets are empty. Can you treat me to air?" Bai Xiaoye had never lacked anything since she was young. Now that she finally experienced the feeling of not having money, she was not used to it. "I'll borrow it from you first, okay? I'll return it to you tomorrow." "You're going to see your mother tomorrow, and you're going to ask her for money?" "Su Yun, that's not appropriate. Xiaoye, I'm telling you, you have to learn to earn your own living. Although your mother doesn't lack money, you can't be ignorant of the concept of money all day. Money is not important, but learning how to earn money is very important to humans." "Why do I feel that you're more like a mother?" Bai Xiaoye snorted and ignored Su Yun. Ever since Su Yun stepped on the road to Tianjin, he had never thought of giving Bai Xiaoye another chance to escape. If he gave her too many chances to escape, she would not cherish them. "Have you heard of a story?" Su Yun said, "Once upon a time, there was a monkey that played all day. One day, it suddenly rained. Only the little monkey was here in the rain. Because it didn't have a house, it said that I would definitely build a house tomorrow. When the rain stopped, it said that the weather was so good, so it should play for a while more. The little monkey always said that it would wait until tomorrow, but in the end..." Cough, cough. "Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? Are you telling me a fairy tale?" Bai Xiaoye said unhappily. "I'll go today. I won't wait." It was not good to keep dragging it out. Finally, the car arrived at the destination. Bai Xiaoye did not even have the courage to get out of the car. However, when she saw so many cars parked in the parking lot in front of the clubhouse, a pile of flower baskets, and 48 salutes lined up side by side, Bai Xiaoye was stunned. "What's going on? Are they going to celebrate my return? Something's not right. Why are there so many men?" Su Yun did not understand either. He simply parked the car in front of the crowd and quickly got out to ask about the situation. Immediately, a young man in a suit hurried over. "Hello, boss. Please park the car over there." Before Su Yun could speak, the young man pointed at a large mahogany table at the entrance. "Park the car and pay the bill over there." "What do you mean?" Su Yun was stunned. "Pay the bill? You are not here to congratulate our boss Zhou?" The young man frowned, and his expression became a little unfriendly. Today is the grand opening of our boss Zhou's clubhouse. Friend, if you're at the wrong place, then hurry up and park the car. Su Yun waved his hand. Wait a minute. When did this clubhouse belong to the Zhou family? Our boss bought this place. Of course, it belongs to the Zhou family. The young man raised his voice. Move the car first. Where's your boss? Su Yun did not have the mood to park the car again. Zhuolengyue was too fast. How could she sell such a big clubhouse just like that? Realizing that something was wrong, Bai Xiaoye got out of the car and walked forward. She happened to hear the conversation between Su Yun and the young man in the suit. Seeing that Su Yun ignored him again and again, the young man in the suit was obviously unhappy. I told you to move the car first. Didn't you hear me? Today is our boss's big day. Don't make things difficult for him. Threat. The threat in his tone made Su Yun feel very unhappy. I'm asking where your boss is. Su Yun's face also turned cold. Ask him to come out and see me. Who do you think you are? The young man was furious on the spot. He reached out to grab Su Yun's collar. He wanted to drag this guy to a corner and give him a good beating. He wanted to let him know that it was not his turn to behave atrociously in Boss Zhou's territory. Su Yun moved his feet and dodged, causing the young man to miss. At this time, Su Yun's mood was also irritated. Fight. Think about what you're worth first. I've already given you a chance. Don't provoke me again. Ask your boss to come out. The young man in the suit did not catch him and became angry. He roared and pounced on Su Yun again. Call your sister. Su Yun did not even have a chance to make a move. Bai Xiaoye kicked him violently. The young man in the suit bent his body and flew more than 10 meters away. He crushed the accounting table at the door. With a loud bang, the scene at the door finally attracted more and more attention. Bai Xiaoye casually said, I'm his sister. Why are you calling me? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.